punch both of you right in the throat if you just keep this up.
Well, I'm allowed to ask that. I don't know what he's doing.
I haven't earned that right yet.
Well, the only reason I ask is that then I have to click on certain things to have it come up.
Right.
And it won't come up unless we're on. That's the only reason.
You got 30 seconds, though.
I'm asking.
And 207. Is that what you're telling me? Days?
202 and 207.
Is that what you said? Is that right?
All right, let's do this.
Figure them out.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Valentine's Day. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Monday after the Super Bowl? How you feeling? How was your weekend? Did you party it up yesterday?
If you did, there's probably a chance you're not with us right now.
Unless work is forcing you to get up. How do you think they're feeling in Cincinnati? Remember, all the kids have today off.
I think that was simply because the parents are so damn hungover.
Well, they are now. They are now.
And they're not getting up in a good mood either.
No, they're not. They're not. There's no consolation in this game. None whatsoever. Second time in their history, they had the lead at the 2-minute warning, basically, in the Super Bowl, only to come away with an L. Third time, not the charm for the Bengals. First ever title for the Rams in Los Angeles. Did you win some money? Did you have 3-0? And let's see, 3-0 was the halftime squares. It was the final squares. You know, I mean, hopefully you won some money there. For those of you who, you know, for non-entertainment purposes only, of course.
Yeah, let's hope you won some money. I know I did not, but I didn't have a whole lot out there to worry about. You know, I mean, you could be Mattress Mac, who lost a cool $9 million.
Unbelievable. He's on a run here, by the way. Just big L after big L after big L. I think he's lost $15.5 million between Alabama money line and the national championship game. He put some money on the Patriots. Now what did he put? About $8 million.
He was almost 10.
Unbelievable.
Almost 10.
He was looking pretty good there. Looking pretty good mid-fourth quarter. But Stafford and Kupp and company get it done.
Barely.
Hey, it counts.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It counts.
There's no doubt. It was not the most aesthetically pleasing game at times. It was a slobber knocker, David. I have to think you enjoyed the line play. Guys were incredibly physical the entire game.
Yeah,
close the entire game.
Right, exactly. There was strategy. There were injuries that played a key role. You know, all the stuff that none of you like. Nope, just want to go up and down the field. You know, give me my fantasy stats. Give me my arena football played on a big field. That's what I like. I don't like anything about pressure points. Don't like the strategy. Don't like having to combat this with this. And no, not interested in that. No. I just want Tony Romo yelling, "Oh my God, Jim, oh my God, what are they going to do now? Oh, they got to get this, they could do this, and they could do this, and they could do this, and then they could throw it to Kupp." That's what you like. Nope, not a game. Not with everything riding on it. No.
I'm not going to make you repeat that, but I'm going to say it was joyous from this seat.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
It's all I could think of mid-fourth quarter was, thank God Romo's not doing this game.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of mid-fourth quarter.
Oh, I don't know, Jim. What are they going to do on this play, Jim?
I don't know what Stafford's going to do now, Jim.
Oh, they went
quarter.
I just, that's where I was with the game. Sorry.
Do I need to text you more during games?
It was glorious, by the way. I only put one tweet out. All right. You and I went back and forth like once. That was it. It was the most peaceful. My wife went to bed after the halftime show.
Mine as well.
We knew that was coming.
I saw her brushing her teeth early third. I said, "You going to bed?" She goes, "Yep." Okay.
Not even 9 o'clock. No, well, let's see. Halftime. So, my wife 8:30. Yep. Put the dog in and went down for the night. That was it. I said, "So you want me to take this, on the other side of the house, right? You want to?" She's like, "Yeah, that'd be good."
Yeah, she did come out after halftime and turn the TV down because I had the halftime up really loud. And left it quite loud.
Right.
And she kind of walked out with the toothbrush in one hand, brushing her teeth, and grabbed the remote and turned it down, set the remote down, and walked back into the bedroom. I said, "All right, looks like she's done for the night."
So.
But the offensive line ultimately of Cincinnati, which played really good for about 3 quarters.
Yeah, about 2.5.
Yeah.
2.5. When they took the lead, then they got the interception. They couldn't punch it in for another 7, so they settled for the 7-point lead. And I thought from that point on that the Rams defensive line basically said to Cincinnati, "You're not scoring anymore. You need to make this hold up."
And, both quarterbacks get just gruesome hits.
Oh, yeah.
Of which most of the time you're wondering if guys are coming back in the game, and these guys both just run back on the field as if nothing happened. And in watching each of them, the announcers even make the comment. You saw Burrow scream in pain.
Mm-hmm. And then when the trainer comes over to him, he says, "Get out of here.
Go away."
Right, I'll deal. I got a lot of time to deal with whatever this is. And Stafford's like, "Are you serious? Do you know the injuries I've played through? Are you kidding?" But, yeah, I liked the game. I did.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. It just at times had some grit to it.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, it was a game. It was just a good, solid football game. I know that many of us expect more with a Super Bowl, but when you don't know who's going to win the game with under 5 minutes to go, Al Michael said it at the beginning. We've had 6 amazing playoff games in a row. Can we get a Super 7?
And we did.
Yeah. If no one's leaving a game in Los Angeles early, it's a really good game. So Rams win. They don't cover. The under is the play.
Which it had been throughout the postseason.
Cooper Kupp, MVP. Tell you what, before he got hurt. We were all, we each had, hey, somebody maybe you could make a little bit of money on MVP. And I remember saying, Odell is off to a good start. We'll see what his knee injury is. Because if it's another, he'll miss all of 2022. This injury's happening mid-February. This isn't an injury happening early November like it did last year.
Well, and not just 2022. If it's another knee injury of the ACL type for Odell, it could be it.
Yeah, he could never be the same. No question. So hopefully it's not that serious. We'll probably find out later today or tomorrow. But Rams win, and there's no doubt, all right, there's no doubt that the Rams are going to get broken up. It may just happen from within. A bunch of guys may just go, "You know what, I'm done. Played this game long enough, finally got the ring. There's no reason to keep playing." Aaron Donald's very non-committal about coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
I watched a lot of post-game, and you could tell that he's thinking about it. 8 years.
It is such a different world post-game. We have plenty of time to get into all the details of the game, but I just laugh now is that, and I'll give Seth Curry this, or Steph Curry rather. This all comes from Steph Curry walking up with his daughter in the NBA Finals postgame, because now every guy's like, "Yep, I'm bringing my kid." We had Stamkos' kid wanting to ride the Zamboni at the All-Star game last week. We got Cooper Kupp's kid taking the microphone on NFL Network saying a few things. We had Weddle's kid, which was absolutely fantastic. Weddle's on NFL Network Live after the game, and they're having a great conversation, and all of a sudden you hear this joyous scream in which his wife and his kids all see him from about 20 yards away. That's the end of the interview. He leaves his helmet between Chris Rose and Joe Thomas. They're on field, on set. And his son, who appears to be, I don't know, about 12, 13 years old, his kid comes over, walks over, grabs the helmet. Chris Rose asks him 2 questions. He gives answers. The kid walks away. It was brilliant television.
Well, this has all happened because a few years ago, the NFL, which used to really restrict access to on the field after the game, but then the NFL started selling access to the field after the game for not just sponsors, but others. And once that happened, the players were like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me we can't get our families on the field after the game, but Joe Schmo could, drop down a few K and can get on the field after the game? Yeah, I don't think so. And so now the families come onto the field after the game. And, it's obviously, it's an awesome moment. I mean, you would stop what you're doing, and especially those with young kids, they see daddy. So in the Super Bowl for the first time, they run at him. I mean, what are you going to do? Bill Polian and Bill's not a great talker, but Bill was, I felt, almost eloquent yesterday morning on NFL radio, talking about what it's like in the immediate aftermath of winning a Super Bowl. He also talked about what it's like in the aftermath of losing a Super Bowl. He lost a few with the Bills and one with the Colts, but talked about when you win and what happens and how long it takes, and how, if you can catch a glimpse of your family on the field and what have you, and then you likely will not see them for 2 hours. And just went through it. But
yeah, I remember, working in minor hockey at the last game, and the 1 year I didn't make the playoffs, there was one player who didn't take his gear off for what seemed to be, we're on the locker room having a few beers, and it lasted quite a while, and then he never had his skates off. And I saw some of those players last time, like, when are they even going to take their shoulder pads off? When are they ever going to want this moment to end?
we'll get your thoughts on anything and everything having to do with the game. If you've never texted the show before, text FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000, 21000. I emphasize that because, well, I feel badly for the gentleman who sent you what text?
Blank. I've been texting 27,000 for the past month.
So it's FSN Radio to 21,000. And you could always take us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, and you can chime in the Twitch chat room. Miller and Moulton. On the day after Super Bowl 56, happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
If you forgot, please go pick something up. You know, cards, chocolates, flowers. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yes.
Look at him in that jacket right now. His sleeves are all. I mean, he's gotten fat.
Yeah. He's got a whole second chin has developed too. He didn't have that.
I thought it was a bad call as well.
I'll tell you what, you guys got a lot of nerve to complain about a call after the Bengals were given a touchdown. Shut up. Honestly, suck it up. Take it. All right. Borderline call. They didn't call them all game. We got it. Did he grab him coming out of his
Any
break?
non-calls
Yes.
go Cincy's in a big way?
Okay.
I hope, Paul, I hope you're being sarcastic. I hope. It's tough on these things to sense sarcasm. I pray you're being sarcastic, Paul. Because only the biggest call in the game went Cincy's way.
I mean, come on. I mean, the only reason we're complaining about that call inside the 5 is because they didn't call it for 58 minutes. He grabbed them coming out of the break, and then he hooked them as the ball was in the air. And the hook is what got him.
Well, first off, Arch, the second penalty you had to call in the end zone. He was damn near tackled. There was 2 flags on that. That was an easy call. This was a weird set here. I know they had to have a transition, David, post-game. Didn't you find this set to be weird? Was it just basically a transition set so they get somebody else on stage?
I thought so. And also to gather more people, line them up for interviews. Yeah. Here's what surprised me, quite frankly. I don't know why it's not Eisen and I mean, I'm sorry. It's the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're working all day. It's an 18-hour day. I don't know what to tell you. You know how much we're paying you guys? All right.
Especially when that's the only post game you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But I mean, like, as soon as they sign off on CBS and go to they gave you that 1 minute. The 1 minute warning to the Olympics,
yeah.
like 2:12.
Right,
That's
yeah.
whatever yours is on
right.
62 or whatever, whatever it is now. But I mean, it's like
406.
I'm going the moment they put that 1 minute up, I'm going to the NFL Network.
Yes.
And you probably stayed a lot longer than I did. I stayed till about 11:15.
Yeah, I stayed for another hour.
I started getting tired, and I'm like, I'm going to bed.
I was too. But DC, he was talking about no weapons besides Cup. Okay, that you took it the wrong way. He was clearly saying, okay, that all they had was Cup. And otherwise they had no weapons.
Yeah, Jefferson really, and he really kind of, I thought Collinsworth made a point 2 or 3 different times saying that Jefferson's got to do something.
Yeah. Well, DC, I thought he went slightly over the top at the end, but I mean, how many Super Bowls have come down to the final drive? We've had a great run lately. We have. Yeah, I mean, I cringed a little bit, DC, at that one because I was laughing, thinking, Chris, you were standing on the sidelines when Montana took him 92 yards.
Yeah, we said last week on the show that the second half of the Super Bowl era has been better than the first half.
Oh, better. Oh, my God.
Like, the Super Bowls that I have watched in my lifetime have been pretty freaking.
No, it's the golden age of Super Bowls.
My first memory of a Super Bowl was the Devin Hester one in Miami.
Yeah, that wasn't even a good Super Bowl.
But, like, the way
it was the best halftime show. But
yeah, too, yeah.
Was Prince 06 or 09 Super Bowl?
06.
He was the first. He was the one the Colts won.
We're coming back.
Yeah, because it's been 15.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Twenty minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. You know, I'm sensing angst early in the morning.
From anybody besides you?
I don't have any angst.
Did you want me to replay that?
That's
Tony
not,
Romo
that's not
diatribe?
angst. That's thank goodness. All right.
Sounded angsty.
just well, you know, I'm a little off center. I'm a little off kilter. You know, you're home in the house alone. Wasn't even drinking either. Didn't have a beer yesterday.
I did, and I had all of them before the game started. I had 3 beers before the game. I opened a 4th one in the first quarter. That was the only one that I had during the game.
I mean, I had a whole bag of chips, mind you. All right. I was given a bag. I don't know about you. I don't know what the food situation was. Don't know if you went to a party. Don't know if you hosted a party, you know, at home. Don't know what the deal was. I was given a container of dip and a bag of chips and was told, this is yours.
What of any dip left?
I have to admit, all right, yes, she bought a big thing of
Yeah, they were on sale.
dip. Yeah, so there's like
Good
half
work.
of it's left.
Did she go Helva or Dean's?
I don't know. It's some special chicken something dip.
Oh,
Okay, buffalo chicken dip. I mean, big container. It was
Look
like,
at
oh,
you.
boy, I know. I didn't realize I was worthy of such a container.
and she went to bed at halftime? What a wife. What a wife.
So, you know, that was my Super Bowl. Partying it up, baby.
I think you and I tied 1 tweet each.
Yeah. That was
Couple
it.
of texts back and forth. I just
Right.
and I only text you because it was The Sopranos. There was a bunch of great ads. I thought the ads, by and large, exceeded my expectations because Super Bowl ads have sucked for the last 5-6 years.
All right. I did something I can honestly say in all my years of watching the Super Bowl, and I'm as old as the game. Yesterday was the very first time I charted the commercials.
Wow.
Very first time. Had my phone with me, just went to the notes and had a big, you know, running commentary on the commercials. And it really went all the way to the starting lineups. I was impressed, surprised, you know, those that don't mention their college. Like Beckham didn't mention LSU. Jalen Ramsey didn't mention Florida State. You know, just going through those that either mentioned their high school or, you know, there was the one player who just like used his last name and said like, you know, the Smuckers clan, you know, that sort of deal. And NBC just like, go with it, whatever.
Absolutely.
Just run with it.
Did OBJ hit us with a him university?
I
am him.
could be,
Diva
could
wide
be. And
receivers.
so I love me some diva wide receivers.
Yes, you do.
I do. Sorry, Pat Kerwin. I was right. You know, love the anthem. Thought she did a great job. I mean, she was lip syncing, but when she recorded it the day before, I thought it was tremendous. You know, I was fun. Love The Rock, by the way. I mean, Michael Buffer for the NFC Championship game. Now The Rock. Is this how we're going to do it late in the playoffs? I'm in.
I was fine with it. That was, I mean, because I was watching golf, missed the entire anthem,
She did a great job.
missed the entire starting lineups, which you know I love the NBC starting lineups far better than any of the networks.
Right.
Because I was literally at a party that was a 4-minute drive. And at 6:30, I looked at because my daughter was there and the family we were with, they have a kid, so the 2 kids are playing. I'm like, honey, it's time to go.
Gotta go.
And I mean, I'm in the car waiting for the 2 of them. I've said my goodbyes to everybody. I'm like, hey, I told everybody when we got there, I said, you're going to watch me walk out at 6:30.
You needed a car? It wasn't even a golf cart thing?
Nah, long story. Golf cart's at my mom's. Could have. Definitely would have. But, yeah. So I missed a bunch of that.
All right.
And heard The Rock. And I have to tell you, you have your Elizabeth Shue, right? My wife has her Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That's on the list. And as much as I wanted to watch halftime, when we got home, she made my daughter run in the house so she could see the person that my mom was talking about, that my wife was talking about, that she had to see. It was fantastic. Fantastic.
I love your father. His arms are not quite the same.
Right.
Right. I like the E-Trade spot.
I liked the Mick Ultra spot.
With Jimmy Butler?
Yes. Yes.
Are you effing kidding me?
Had to tie it in somehow.
I liked Selma and Arnold with the electric car ad. It was cute.
Lot of electric car ads.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot of big electric car night.
Wow.
A win.
Apparently, it felt to me like, what was that Super Bowl about 15 years ago and all the .coms were coming?
Yes.
And remember, we had like 12 .com ads and we're all looking at one another going, really? Is this the future? And like most of those businesses were done within 2 years. But yep, man, I looked at the wife at one point and go, do we have the wrong cars? Because I don't know what ours are paid off. I really don't want to go to another car.
That and crypto.
Oh yeah.
I knew crypto was coming.
Yeah.
But the E vehicles went after one another. I mean, that was
Oh yeah.
and the Sopranos for the win, in my opinion.
All right. So was it Coinbase, the one with the doot, and the thing just went like the old Pong game on the screen for a minute, and at the end they just put up like Coinbase.
Yeah. Just a
Okay.
QR code bouncing around.
The barcode bouncing around. I halfway through it, I figured out, I go, oh, this is going to be some crypto thing here. All right. Well, let's just see what it is. But I did not take out my phone or anything and do the barcode. You?
Well, if you were with me, it would have been tech time with David.
Right.
And then I would have showed you, look, you can turn on your camera and then boom, the link.
By the way, I know how to do it. Okay. I'm just saying I had no interest in doing it.
I have no interest in doing any of that when I'm watching a game.
Right. I just don't know what to tell you. Besides, I'm taking notes here. I can't stop my note taking and then, also take a picture. I'm using the phone. Sorry. The one crypto ad I did like was the Larry David crypto ad for FTX.
Well, you and I love Larry David.
Right.
I mean, so going through the annals of time of everything he gets wrong is
It's
fantastic.
right. I am never wrong about these things. Okay. I mean, that's cute. That's fine. What it also, just a little behind the curtain, how many companies decided to do a 60 instead of a 30? Because obviously it's double the money. This just in, 30s are between 5 and 6 million. So, I mean, that's a hell of an ad you're putting together here. It's 8 figures just to run it.
Yeah, I thought, Facebook had their ad, or the virtual reality, the Meta, whatever,
Yeah.
Facebook. I thought the interesting thing about that was because I knew that Foo Fighters were doing a concert on Facebook Live last night. They put that at the very end. It's like, wow, you've got one of the best rock bands in the world in the Super Bowl doing a free show. Maybe you'd make more out of that in your ad, but they flashed at the very end. That ad, by the way, one of the many getting an F by Yahoo. The Meta, the virtual reality Meta ad.
Gotcha.
Your drops by Coinbase, that was also an F grade by Yahoo.
Okay. Now, I didn't like the Coinbase ad, but then again, I'm not interested in any of that stuff.
I will say the app crashed with how many people scanned.
And that's
their
never
QR code.
good. Just in.
Look at anytime Dolly Parton is on TV and pulls a phone out of her chest, T-Mobile won.
See, you liked the Save the Phones?
I thought hers was better than the second Miley one. But I just thought, because I had no idea at first what she was doing, and then she reaches into her chest and pulls out a phone.
Right.
Come on, Dolly, you've got me. You've won. And I don't like right off. I mean, it was a good ad, but I don't like right off the hop when you're trying to make me cry.
Oh, you thought bad placement with that ad?
Great placement, but I mean, are you serious? My wife and I looked at one another. Really? The whole paraplegic, the very first minute-long Toyota ad in which they celebrate the Paralympic winner. But it was,
right.
I mean, it was a very touching story. It was
Right. How about the Keeping Up with the Joneses Toyota ad? Okay.
I only liked it because Tommy Lee goes, whoever you are. that line made the ad.
I was okay with Jim Carrey's Verizon ad, making fun of Cable Guy. All right. Because the movie was really dark. I actually thought the commercial was better than the movie, hated the movie. And I loved Jim Carrey at that point in time, hated the movie, thought it was too dark. So it is interesting how it's changed. Bud Bowl is long since gone. There were very few just standard beer ads. I think there was Mick Ultra and
Mick Ultra, Bud had the one with the Clydesdales, and then the Bud Light Seltzer.
Right.
AB still pays their money for that sucker.
Yeah, they do. I think they're just afraid somebody else will get in there.
You're darn right.
You might as well budget $20 million for that game in February. Yeah, just put it down. We'll come up with something. Obviously, I love the Sopranos kids Chevy electric car ad.
Well, especially when they get young Tony in there, because we weren't, you got Meadow for the whole ad. We don't see him until the ad. I thought it was right. That was fantastic.
Yeah, love the ad. And obviously, if you're a fan of the show and all of a sudden that music starts playing and then you see her driving in the car and you're like, oh.
All right, for a half a second, did you think there was some new show with her in it?
No. I'm like,
because they're previewing. There's a lot of movies because they do a lot of Marvel stuff, and now they've been previewing a lot of shows. I'm like, they're not. No, then too many. They pretty quickly I knew it wasn't. But
near the end, you had the Alexa ad with Colin Yost and Scarlett Johansson there. All right, I thought it was cute. I thought it worked. I did. I'm not a big Alexa fan. I don't want it in the house at all. I've been given sent many of them free for buying certain things, what have you. I literally give them away. Don't even want them in the house.
Is it because they listen to every word you say?
I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. And what is it that you think goes on in your house that's so important that they can't hear it?
Listen, the phone is off.
Yeah, David.
All right.
You don't think they're already listening to everything you say through your phone?
No, I don't. I don't. But I'm convinced that whoever's operating Alexa,
I know.
Listening.
I make sure a few times during the day. I ask her if she caught all of that.
What did she say?
Yes. Yes, I did. And we're listening.
And I thought the Eugene Levy Nissan ad was cute, for lack of a better word. It was okay. All right. Put a little effort into this. You know what? You met the threshold. This works. I remembered who you are, what you're selling. Okay.
As someone who now has a real estate license, I did think the Rocket Mortgage Barbie Dream House was pretty funny.
You like that?
Given the current state of affairs, I thought they captured today's market perfectly with the damn dollhouse, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Did you like the NFL ad that they put?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
With the dolls.
It.
I thought it was fun.
I thought it was excellent. Outstanding. Loved how they ended it with Jefferson dancing. Yeah. No, I thought it was great. 27 minutes before the hour. It is the thing about the Super Bowl. There is so much to it. From the singing to the ads. Oh, yeah, to the game.
Hey, and Lee Sterling made you so much money 5 minutes into the game, it's not even funny.
Right.
The anthem goes over by about 80 seconds. So you've got that done.
Right.
And the half sack, he sacked on the very first drive of the game. That was done.
And, all right, if you went heads on the coin toss, I mean, honestly, you're sitting down, it's not even 6:45, and you're like, man, I am just rolling in it. Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. Top of the morning to you. Thanks for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10 That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Klecko, you're right. The one-handed catch by Chase. Man. Look at you, Jack Ritz, taking in a little Kevin Harlan. DC, I didn't like the 4th and 1 call passing it because it was less than 1. It was like 4th and half a yard.
They ran the football.
I would have had Joe Mixon in there. I was thinking if they didn't have time to change personnel, that he would just sneak it, to be honest. Yeah, is anybody with college football watching the Super Bowl, paying attention to things that with a 35-minute halftime show and the game kicking off at 6:35, which is, I think, the latest the Super Bowl's ever kicked off. But that game was over before 10 o'clock.
Unbelievable. Do you think that there being no penalties had anything to do with that?
Sure, that helped.
I think so.
Yeah, not having a touch. But you know what helped is the style of pro football.
Yeah.
I mean, there weren't that many first downs, but they don't stop the clock. Even at the end of the half, the way they were running the clock, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that game flew.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
I mean, that halftime, by the way, is 2.5 times a normal NFL halftime. A normal NFL halftime is 13 minutes.
That halftime show was 35 minutes?
Damn near. Okay.
What?
It went to half at 5-8. When did they kick off the third quarter? Right at 8:30, I thought.
All right. By the way, wasn't a bad show.
Halftime?
Yeah.
No.
Wasn't bad.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah. Pretty good.
You think?
I mean, last year's was horrible. So
I don't care about last
better than
year's.
last year's for sure.
It was flipping awesome.
It was good. I think that for a brief moment, Mary J. Blige was just lip syncing like crazy. Lip singing? Is it lip singing or lip syncing?
Sinking.
Yeah, syncing. Yeah, Eminem was great. 50 was great. They brought him out.
Yeah, bringing 50, that was the surprise. He wasn't
Yeah.
on any list, so that was
No.
like, whoa.
So many memes
Here's my question, though.
about him being upside
Isn't
down.
50 or 50,
50.
isn't he East Coast?
Yeah, he's from Queens.
Right. I that's the whole thing. Because to me, I
It
thought,
was more of a celebration of the genre, though.
Yeah, that era, I guess.
because did Dre have anything to do with 50? Because I thought the whole thing was like a celebration. Basically, if Dre influenced, he picked
Right.
like the people that he influenced within the genre and all that. I thought it was a West Coast, versus East Coast, emphasis on West Coast celebration. But I love the people who commented and said, Fitty looks like $1 now.
He's big, man. He is huge.
Brought to you by Creatine.
Yeah. Looks like a running back.
No, Klecko. Well, Al didn't announce. I was very disappointed that NBC did not give Al Michaels a moment there. I couldn't believe it.
Wait, he's not retiring, is he?
Well, he's not retiring, but NBC's pushing him aside.
Of course, 50 Cent worked closely with performers Dre and Eminem to kick off his career.
Oh, okay.
We're coming
Got
back.
it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
20 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. By the way, for those of you nearby, Saturday, I think it's 11 to 2 is when we'll be there. We'll be in, we call it Northport. Some people call it Venice, the Braves complex.
That's where we're going to be. Let's just go with the Braves complex.
Right.
Let's not offend any municipality at all during the next 5 days.
This will be This will be the closest we get to baseball this year, folks. It'll be the World Series trophy on display, and we can all talk about what a great popular sport baseball used to be. Saturday, 11 to 2 at the Braves complex in, Northport / Venice. Thanks to the good folks at 1070 The Zone for bringing us out. And we appreciate the ad in the Sunday paper, too. That was nice.
It's nice to have some of the affiliates recognize that you're actually on the air.
Right. Maybe one of these days some of them will. Right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Still waiting for that advertising campaign. Rams 23-20 over the Bengals. Bengals in the points were a winner. The under was a winner. Cooper Kupp as MVP was a winner. Second title for the Rams. First with them in L.A. That includes going back in the day. And Bengals now 0 for 3 in Super Bowls. Super Bowl 57's in Arizona on February 12th. They've already got odds. Favorites to win Super Bowl 57. Care to guess who's number 1?
Kansas City.
13 to 2. Bills at 7 to 1. They're the only 2 in single digits. There's lots of value on the old board right now, Mark. If you've got a feeling about somebody for next year. Bengals 12 to 1, Niners 14 to 1, Packers 15 to 1, Cowboys 16 to 1, Bucks 18 to 1. Just saying. I'm just saying. Adrian Peterson arrested at LAX for alleged domestic violence. That'll end his career. Nobody will pick him up now. I mean, these charges will get dismissed. She won't want to prosecute. They'll go away. But now no one will pick him up.
If they were going to anyhow.
Right. But in the last couple of years, multiple teams have picked him up in which we all went, wow, I guess he's still on people's boards. But now that to me will effectively end Adrian Peterson's career, which also means that we were talking about Hall of Fame.
Right. And I know it's supposed to be between the white lines. He won't get in first time.
Oh, I think he will.
Will he, with this and a child abuse thing in his past?
Yeah,
I know it'll be fascinating because the league says they don't, and they have.
This is the Pro Football Hall of Fame saying we are different from the Baseball Hall of Fame.
But you have to acknowledge, David, they have used off-field stuff to keep people out for a couple of years. T.O. should have never had to wait 3 years.
Well, there's no doubt about that. They did with T.O., and he didn't have any off-the-field stuff. They kept him out because he was a jerk.
Well, that's off-the-field stuff.
Off the field in the locker room? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was. He was a clear first ballot guy. But
so I just bringing that up.
Right. Just saying, but
they're not supposed to.
Brady, but think about it. If he's on the same ballot as Ben as a first timer,
right?
You're going to keep AP out? I actually think it'll help AP that Ben's on it with him. I think they'll just usher all 3 in. Boom. There you go.
With Gronk.
Yeah, Gronk's trying to figure it out. You notice now Gronk...
Tom's trying to figure it out for crying out loud.
Everybody around Tom seems to be hinting at that. I don't think he's done. You think he's done? I don't think he's done. I mean, all of them. Edelman,
Bucks
Gronk.
season ticket staff's going, really? Really?
Bucks are like, do we need to trade for a veteran quarterback or do we just need to be patient? Could you give us a sign? Anything? You know, grab your left eardrum. Anyway. All right, the Olympics. They've had the hearing and they decided the 15-year-old Russian is cleared to compete in figure skating. That means that Russia's going to be able to keep that team gold medal they won a week ago.
What are they saying about the positive drug test?
Well, they're saying it happened at the Russian championship 2 months ago. And I don't know what they're saying, Mark. They're saying it wasn't performance enhancing. She didn't have anything to do with it. I will say most every athlete, including some prominent American Olympians, have come out and said, come on, do you really think this 15-year, I mean, just leave her alone. It's been interesting because usually athletes hate cheaters. And most of the athletes don't seem to think she's a cheater.
When they are convinced everyone else in the country is.
Right. I will say, supposedly, whatever the drug was, that while it's on the banned list, most people don't consider it like really performance enhancing, especially for someone who's 15. U.S. has had a good few days at the Olympics. Don't know if any of you are paying attention. We went 1-2 in the female. It's called monobob.
Yeah, it looks like it's a new sport invented so we can win medals.
Well, it means you go by yourself.
I understand that.
Bobsled used to be 2-man and 4-man. Now it's mono. Just you, yourself, and I. And, we went 1-2. Here's the interesting thing, though. You know, we've had some high-profile cases of American athletes who are competing for China because their parents have direct heritage to China, and then, therefore, they have the right to decide which country they're going to represent in the Olympics. The one is doing really well, and the other figure skater has not done well. Well, Kaylee Humphreys won the gold medal in the monobob. She also had won 2 or 3 previous gold medals for Canada. She became a U.S. citizen in mid-December. She married an American guy, lives in America, but basically had a conflict with the Canadian bobsled folks. And so that pushed her over the edge. And she said, well, you know what? I'm going to become an American citizen and compete for America.
Those Canadians have always been pushy.
And I thought it was fascinating. There she was holding up an American flag, chanting USA, USA. I went, wondering how that's going over in Alberta there, where her family is.
Probably not all that well.
Hell of a story in 500-meter women's speed skating. Erin Jackson from Ocala, Florida, won the gold medal. She had never put on a pair of skates until 6 years ago. And there was video of first time she was ever on ice. Apparently she was great. I don't know if it was roller derbying or whatever, but she was great on land and had never, ever, ever done anything like it on ice. And they said, you really should try. You might be good at it. And within 2 years of putting on skates for the first time, she makes the Olympic team in 2018. And now in 2022, she's the best in the world at the 500-meter speed skating. We hadn't won the 500-meter speed skating gold since 94. I think that's like Bonnie Blair type territory. The U.S., by the way, now tied for third in medals. We've got 15, 7 gold, 6 silver, and 2 bronze. Golf, how many of you watched? I was curious whether or not there was going to be some rules or some understanding between the NFL and CBS, kind of like, hey, we'll let you televise the Phoenix Open till 6. We may even let you go till 6:30, but the minute we're lining up for kickoff, you got to move this sucker over to the Golf Channel. And that never happened.
I made the comment watching the tournament with friends that it was a bad playoff hole. Guys were not birdieing 18. And they have this new playoff. Let's just play the same damn hole over and over and over for television. And it just wasn't, it's a good par 4.
Right.
It was a tough birdie. In fact, both Scheffler and Cantlay knocked it tight on their 72nd hole, and both missed putts inside, and both missed them from inside 10 feet.
So Scotty Scheffler wins his first ever PGA tournament after crushing it in the Ryder Cup. He won on the third playoff hole against Cantlay. He wins the Waste Management Open in Phoenix. Great field. By the way, this week, the top 10 players in the world, they're all playing this week on the PGA Tour. 2
aces on 16 over the weekend.
Right. After they hadn't had an ace there in like 8 years. 2 NBA games yesterday. Celtics beat the Hawks 105-95. Boston's in the 6th spot. Atlanta's holding down the 10 spot, which is the very last play-in position. And the T-Wolves, who are in the 7th spot in the West, beat Indiana 129-120. Pacers have the 3rd worst record in the East. College hoops, all the ranked teams won, but UConn and Purdue barely. And Illinois edged Northwestern by 7. NHL, 4 games. Penguins doubled up the Devils 4-2. Colorado shut out Dallas 4-0. What was that Avs story you were saying?
Their assistant equipment manager, I believe it's Donnie Brown is his name, and he is a diehard Bengals fan. So the players on the team took a little collection box, tickets, airfare, hotel, and sent them to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Because hockey.
Ottawa 4-1 over Washington, and Buffalo beat Montreal 5-3. Martin St. Louis, I think, is 0-2 as Les Habitants head coach. Just a couple of notes. Don't know if you saw over the weekend, long-time and legendary Michigan sportscaster Frank Beckman passed away at the age of 72. And Ivan Reitman, director of Ghostbusters, Animal House, died yesterday at 75. And that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
If I missed anything, I don't know what to tell you. The Super Bowl was yesterday. I did the best I could.
I think you did well.
I'm hoping there's a few folks who are like, wow, you mean other stuff took place yesterday?
I think that's a dadgum good point.
I watched the golf up until 6. I mean, you know me. I hate all the pregame stuff. Even if we're a part of it, I hate all the pregame stuff.
I only turned it on before I left for the party because I wanted the TV on. So when I walked in the house, I didn't have to find remotes.
Right.
And Kornacki there that does the CNBC stuff was breaking down the 100 square boards. And I thought that was absolutely gold. What I didn't realize going into the game is, do you know that the number 1 is the second most popular number for a final score? It's hit more than 7's number 1. The number 1 is number 2 for final score.
Interesting.
Yeah, I found that. Thought that was a little factoid.
All right. How many of you won or lost money in the squares because of the botched snap, which was looming rather large throughout the day's proceedings? In fact, I was surprised it took Al and Chris a long time to bring it up. They brought it up with 3.5 minutes to go. Al goes, that missed extra point is really looming large. I'm like, has been for about an hour and a half. But
always a damn Rams kicker when it comes to these squares, David.
Well, this time it was the holder.
I got you.
Blame it on the holder.
Damn Rams kick again, screwing up the square pool.
No, for those that go back 3 years, it was 13-3 late. Rams were going to kick a field goal to get to the onside kick, and a guy who never missed. Cost people a few bucks, including one Mark Miller. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Using the Western banks for money, plus all of the rich people there are using the Western banks and what have you to hide all their money. Okay. And so apparently what we're threatening is that we will make your country a third world country, and we will take all your individual monies. All of it.
I got you.
It will all be frozen. You will never see it again.
DC, was that
Better
so?
to Switzerland because they don't care.
Right. And supposedly it's to the point in which if this happens, this will change our relationship with that country probably for 30 to 50 years. That this will be a BFD in the wrong way.
Other than that, how was the play?
Right.
Which my wife went to the theater yesterday for some musical
Oh,
at
cool.
Barbara B. My mom's got season tickets. I bought them for her a
Right.
few years ago, and she kept getting them. So I forgot what I don't know. Some musical was one Best Tony musical. They both said it was terrific. It was really sad though. It's like wonderful.
Oh,
Glad I
it's a
didn't
toe
know.
tapper.
Yeah.
DC, was that a thing that they would do like in the 80s? Lakers Celtics right before the Super Bowl?
What about Lakers Celtics right before the
Yep.
Super Bowl?
DC said yes, was reminiscing about Lakers Celtics games prior to Super Bowl kickoff, followed in the 90s by Bulls Knicks.
I don't know what that has to do with anything though. Where's
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
where's
to
that
find.
coming from?
I have no idea. But just the thought of
He just said it was reminiscing about Lakers Celtics games prior to the Super Bowl kickoff, followed in the 90s by Bulls Knicks. Yeah, CBS when they had the NBA on, I think it was CBS, they would run a game before the Super Bowl. That was pretty common.
Right. Well,
But there wasn't 47 hours of pregame.
No. In fact,
They'd probably come on at 4 for pregame. So the game would be a 2 to 4 slot.
I
or
thought
a noon to 2.
thought I read yesterday there was a Super Bowl in Miami in the 80s on CBS, and Musburger and 2 other people did it. It was 90 minutes was the pregame. Started at 5.
I mean, but I can remember 4:00 Super Bowls where you'd have a 2 to 4 NBA game, on the same network as a Super Bowl.
I got you. There was a game yesterday on ABC, but no one watched that. But yeah, that's a hell of a day in the 80s. Bulls or Celtics, Lakers, and then a Super Bowl. That's awesome.
Did you see the worst beat in the world yesterday?
No.
Stafford's rushing yards over under 6.5.
The kneel down?
He's at 7.
Oh my
He
god.
kneels down, finishes with 6.
Oh, that's a bad beat.
was funny. I don't know who it was.
Remember, 2 years ago, Mahomes.
I know, but it was somebody in the Twitch chat room because Lee liked the over. And he said sacks don't count. And I don't know which one of you did it. I think it was Arch, but I'm not positive. But one of the Twitch chat guys went, kneel downs do, though.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
The Detroit Rams. Congratulations.
Because 2 years ago, Mahomes against the Niners also. Like San Francisco had one timeout left, and Kansas City had to run. They couldn't just do 3 kneel downs.
By the way, if Stafford only throws one pick, if that second pick, which really wasn't his fault, isn't a pick, does Stafford get the MVP?
I thought he would have gotten my vote.
He would have gotten mine as well. Cooper Kupp had
Kupp was amazing, but somebody had to get him the ball. And
right.
I thought Stafford had to negotiate everything else that was working against him.
Kupp even said it the one throw. He's looking in the third row of the stands and throws.
And he goes, and then I realized, oh, wow, he's coming to me.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Minute and a half past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. I say that almost as a friendly reminder. Was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday and said, hey, remember tomorrow's Valentine's Day. And he went, oh, my goodness. Thank goodness you said something I had totally forgotten. So just to throw that out there, there's something little can save you from something big. That's all. That's all. Hey, we haven't thrown out a poll question. And we also haven't talked about, a big issue with the Super Bowl. We've talked a little bit about the game and, the commercials and a few other sort of things, but,
David Moulton had the poll question done early third quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, it may have been before the third quarter started. It was one of 2 texts that David sent me during the game.
That's it.
I sent him 2 as well. I believe I sent the first one, Soprano Kids for the win. That was chased with E-Trade was pretty good too. Followed by, I guess I beat him with 3 with an agree. And then he said, so far, loving the halftime show. Should be our poll question tomorrow. And he gave the poll question. Your thoughts on the halftime show? Loved it. Awesome. It was okay. Please not again. That is up at FL Sports Network and that Mark Miller. Probably at some point on the David Moulton as well.
All right, let me get around to this. All right. Let me get around to it. I really should retweet this Super Bowl and all. Not going to have a lot of football questions over the next 200 days or so. I'm not going to give out the magic numbers. It'll depress people.
Don't do it. I think we need to have the magic numbers to the draft.
You can do that. Or to free agency begins.
Free agency, the combine. There are plenty of things, David, to look ahead to.
Well, there are. Put it this way. The magic number is 8. Aaron Rodgers has promised us that he will let us know whether he wants to stay or go.
Right.
Before, I believe, teams have to start putting tags on players, and that's a week from tomorrow. So if you're looking for a magic number, there you go. Sometime in the next 8 days, Aaron Rodgers will let us know. I, by the way, thought based on all the things that he was saying Thursday night, I think he's out of here. I mean, I thought he was literally continuing his long goodbye to Green Bay. I mean, when he thanked Ted Thompson, all right, that's when I'm like, oh, wow, you're making sure you cover all the bases before you go wherever it is you're going to go. But that's just my 2 cents. So the halftime show, loved it. It was okay. Please don't do that again. That's our poll question. For what it's worth, Mark, Twitter loved it.
Yes, they did. Mostly Facebook did too. Of the people that I'm friends with on Facebook, the majority loved the halftime show.
I will say, it had a great beat. All right?
Yeah.
It was very entertaining.
They played the hits.
They did. Love the choreography. All right? I was in.
Now, I guess a lot of people were upset that Eminem was kneeling at the end of it. I didn't even realize that he was making a statement by kneeling. I was just watching.
Neither did I.
I was just watching the halftime, and Eminem kneeled. Okay, so get over it.
I went on Twitter and it was like, Eminem making a big statement. Respect. I was like, what?
Right.
What?
I think there were a lot of people who at first did not realize what he was doing
No.
because that's 3 years in our rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Eminem was very pro what Kaepernick did. And so that was Eminem's way of
But
basically not selling out.
no vulgarities. I mean, it was
No.
a cleaner halftime show than Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
We had Snoop and Dre on the stage, okay?
Right.
I mean, there were colossal chances for this to go off the rails quickly if it wanted to. And it was terrific.
And no herbs on stage.
Right.
either.
I mean,
Yeah.
Although apparently they were all throughout the stadium. People who were at the game were constantly tweeting, going, "Man, this game's got a unique smell to it."
Gonna have it like that every time they have it in a place where it's legal.
I was enjoying the comments from the auxiliary press section, going, "Boy, I'll tell you, it really travels up here."
The Super Bowl is loud. Wow.
So, your thoughts on the halftime show? That is our poll question. I think David has it retweeted by now as well.
I do. So really liked it. It was okay. Yeah, didn't like it. Don't do it again. And the reason that we worded it that way is that they've never done a halftime show with this genre before. I mean, this was hip hop rap. Okay. We're not going to just mix in a little bit of it. We're not going to have a trio of artists and one of them is going to go down that fork in the road. No. This was a hip hop rap.
No, the closest thing
show.
Closest thing we're going to give you to singing is Mary J. Blige, and she's going to sing half of her performance.
Right. So there you go. Everyone I talked to, either by texting or actually talked to, really liked it.
Yeah, my only beef with it, and I love Kendrick Lamar, is that the music was so loud when it's hard. I always have trouble hearing Kendrick anyhow on an album. With that live performance, the music was so damn loud it drowned out his vocals. That would be my take. But
He had the cleanest outfit though.
oh, it was the choreography was just fantastic. Like that's the thing. I'm watching it going, I wish I could hear it better because it was very cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Now, listen, nobody likes anything anymore. And there were a lot of people that like, this is the best halftime show ever. And there are some of us who were trying to go, Prince, 15 years ago, Miami, kind of, in the rain singing, yeah. But okay, that's fine. Beyonce, Bruno Mars, U2's halftime was outstanding. I mean, but Michael Jackson's, I was lucky enough to be there for that one. I mean, when Michael Jackson was the biggest damn thing going. Okay.
You were there for Shakira J-Lo too.
Yeah, I was. But,
Which was really good.
Yeah, it was a nice performance. I mean, I wouldn't put it, top 5 halftime shows of all time. It was entertaining, but, some nice eye candy for, those of you into that sort of thing. But, I think it was I'd be willing to go top 5 halftime shows of all time.
I thought it was the best one I've seen since Prince. I'm not one that can rank things. Prince is my all-time favorite.
Right.
That ranks second for me.
Right.
And I understand why people don't like it, and I understand people don't like, but I mean, they did it with a live band to disprove all those people that, it's not music. Well, yeah, it is. Shut up. The get off my lawn guy was not going to like it no matter what. Like, I'm getting text, worst halftime show ever. I took the opportunity to take a shower and try to sober up.
Right. And I get that. It's why, by the way, I wanted the question. Because if you're not into the genre, that's 15 minutes to literally go call someone, go walk the dog, do it. Go make a beer run. I mean, if it doesn't interest you, great. You got 15 minutes during the Super Bowl to take care of some business. And if you don't care about the other halftime stuff, you got a half hour. When normally you got 13 minutes at halftime.
Yeah, that's not time for a beer run.
No,
You cannot make a beer run during an NFL halftime.
but you can during the Super Bowl
You're
halftime.
damn right you can.
And if you go, wait, what's the musical entertainment again? It's hip hop rap. Oh, I hate that stuff. Honey, I'm going to go out and get another 6-pack. So, I thought the music, was terrific. There were 2 statements made. Eminem kneeling and Dr. Dre left in the lyrics to the one song in which he said, I don't like cops. That's it. And depending on who you believe, the NFL begged both of them, please don't do this. And they basically said, listen, we can only sell out so far for you, okay? And
what are you paying for this?
Yeah, and by the way, we're getting bubkiss for doing this. 0, zilch, nada, not a dime. The NFL says we give you an audience of 100, and actually at halftime, sometimes the audience goes up. 100 to 110 million. You take it and market whatever you want to market off of that. We ain't paying you squat. We'll put you up. That's it. And so they said, well, with that in mind, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. We really don't want you to do that. Okay.
Sounds good.
And then they did this and this.
So
And my only other thought of the halftime is that there was so much going on. I actually downloaded the app, the Pepsi app that they were talking about.
Halftime.
So literally you were in the performer's eyes looking at the stage or looking side stage.
Oh, really? Is that what that did?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay.
My daughter, and I forced my daughter to stay up for halftime.
Look
watch.
At you. Just say, honey, this is daddy's youth right here.
Sit down. Get educated, young lady.
This is my youth.
Right. She was the Ute, and it was my Ute.
Right.
So, no, I let the daughter stay up for it because she's not a huge hip-hop fan, so we're trying to bring her in slowly.
I mean, and of course, there's the comments, and there's one here in the Twitch chat room between Stafford at quarterback and Eminem at halftime. Hey, Detroit. Hey, Michigan. This is as close to the Super Bowl as we can make it for you. If there was only 1 week between games, I don't think folks in Michigan would have gotten annoyed by that. But with the 2 weeks in between, by the end of the 2 weeks, I sensed a little bit of blowback on the other side.
I know, obviously being from there and being on social media and having many friends who still live in the Mitten State, it became apparent that there was a divide. It was cute for a while, and then people started getting a little honked off.
Right.
Like, enough already. We're better than, we have more pride than that. You really don't. Not with your professional football team. I don't know what to tell you.
Approaching 13 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I forgot who it was who said it on the Twitch chat, but said something along the lines of anyone under 23 thought it was like cringy, boring, old men dancing. Watching Snoop Dogg crip walk with ease is it's a pretty awesome sight. So I enjoyed that at least. And I thought it was good. Stage was pretty cool too. I like the whole map of LA thing. It's pretty good.
Our guest in 20 minutes there apparently had a big problem with the Bengals head coach in the game.
Okay.
So
Yeah, made some pretty
some of the
stupid
stuff we
decisions.
could talk to him about. But I'm going to throw a couple things out at you with the game here.
Okay.
That's funny.
Good John Wheels, huh?
Apparently,
I can't say I'm surprised because she
I
has a little of that
was.
look to her.
I was
Hold up.
disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
Plus, also, I think she's like divorced with a kid. I just thought she.
The part of
Now, apparently,
This-
after they had the hole-in-one at the Phoenix, too.
Oh,
Beers just littered the green.
oh my god, that was the
well,
best. Probably the
Aldo
best part of the
thought, I
weekend.
don't know, late when was it Scheffler or Cantlay? I think it was Cantlay. He had like that 25-footer for birdie on 16, and it's tracking, it's got good speed, it's right on line, and it bounces up in the air and goes completely offline and comes up 4 feet short. And Faldo, and you could see where the spike marks were, and it didn't hit a spike mark. And Faldo literally said he wondered if it was a dent from the beer cans. And I thought CBS needed to try to get a
Get in
close-up
tight,
of
yeah.
to
Make
take a look at the ground, and they never did. But he wondered, did it literally hit an indentation from a beer can?
Now, the people I talked to, I didn't see it live. People said Feldo looked like he was having fun with it. And I'm like, that had to just drive Sir Nick crazy. And they're like, no, Nick seemed like he thought it was pretty cool.
Well, Amanda on Saturday was great. I thought she was fantastic, and her and that Nost guy, Colt Nost or whatever, that made a good team.
How about the sponsors exemption? The guy that nearly
Yeah.
won was a sponsors
Yeah.
exemption. How about the
How
up
about the
and
bad
down
break he got? Are we talking about?
Yeah, I didn't watch, but the last 5-6 holes. So what bad?
We're talking about the
Guy finished at T3.
like the
Tagada or whatever. Yeah.
Thigala or whatever. Yeah, so he's tied for the lead coming to, I think it's 17, and he goes to drive the green, and he's hitting a perfect cut. Okay, and it lands like left center of the fairway, but it's cutting. It's going to take a straight bounce, going to roll up. Okay, kicks dead left, goes into the water.
That's how he made bogey there. I'm running around doing
Got
stuff. I didn't see his
Awful
drive.
break. He had
Because-
a perfect drive. It's going to be on the green or maybe just off the back.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it looked like he's going to have 30 feet.
I didn't see that because I saw. I mean, his up and down he makes on that putt he makes on 18 is one hell of a putt.
Yeah.
Johnny
Only
Mac.
saved him $200,000.
Johnny Mac. I think it was Spieth. But yeah, I saw that. Tell you what, those hole-in-ones, that was probably one of the best parts of the whole weekend.
Well.
That was electric. I've never seen anything like that on a
Well, it's
PGA
the
Tour.
only hole in golf that's like that.
Yeah, like
really.
an arena.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And some guys hate it and won't play Phoenix because
Oh
of-
yeah,
Well, because they heckle Thursday, Friday.
yeah.
too.
There's no etiquette.
No, they know stuff about you. They do research.
Right.
They'll mention your girlfriend. No.
Right.
You missed the green Thursday, Friday. They're coming after you.
Yeah.
And I love the fact, you're tied for the lead and you hit one to 30 feet and they boo you.
Yeah.
Because it's not a good enough shot.
Yep.
Right.
Oh my God, they were
That next year, Phoenix.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Could have the-
I'm more fired up about trying to get to 16 than I am
10 seconds.
any part of Radio Row.
we could
figure-
try Saturday. don't you
I
think?
figure.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"19 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Mark Zinno in a little more than 15 minutes, our first guest on this day after Super Bowl 56. All right. I throw a couple things out at you about the game.
Sure.
do you have a problem with anything? I mean, when the game was over, was there something you were kvetching about?
Problem, no. I did not like the defensive holding call.
Which one?
The one that kept the drive live, the first one on Cup, the linebacker.
The third down.
The third down
Third
play.
and goal, Cup inside. He was trying to catch the ball at about the 2-yard line. So you did not think that linebacker held Cooper Kupp at any point during that play?
Based on the way the game was called.
That's
No.
not what I asked
I
you.
understand that. But they call a game a certain way. I'm David, I'm a hockey guy at heart, okay? When you call a game the whole game the same way, and then at a moment, don't. It was a bad pass. The pass was behind the pass was in his body, which helped the defender out in that. I thought they gave him one there. Now, the missed penalty is a makeup that could have been in the referee's pocket the whole game. That was another. See, I know you can come back at me with I did not like that call.
Well, but you said you're a hockey guy. Hockey is known for makeup calls. All right. Known for it. All right. I do think it is rich. Okay. Anybody today complaining about that call when what would have gone down is maybe the most egregious officiating mistake in the history of the Super Bowl gave the Bengals a touchdown. I mean, gave them a touchdown. So there's no doubt the game was not called tight. And then with 2 minutes to go, there was a call, and even Collinsworth said, that's a little ticky-tacky for the way the game's been.
And I thought his phrasing there was perfect because that's what it was to me. It was ticky-tacky. That's all.
And I thought he, A, held him coming out of the break, and B, hooked him as the ball was being released so that he could be on his back to deflect the ball away. But you're right. If they had littered if they had thrown 7-8 flags on each team, we wouldn't have had any argument with that call. But you're right. They only called, except for the one blown call, they really only called the obvious, egregious stuff. Guy runs onto the field, not in uniform. I guess you got to call that.
They had to delay a game.
Right. A procedure
procedure call.
The other personal foul, which was obvious that the Bengal player had committed. All right. Okay, this is obvious stuff. They have to call it. And then they missed the one obvious call. They did. It once again, though, I mean, I just want to imagine if the Bengals won the Super Bowl today 20-16. I mean, we nearly had happen the worst case scenario for the NFL. A Super Bowl decided by a blown call, even though it was on the first offensive play of the third quarter. And it does, to me, bring back the, are you sure Belichick's not right?
It's not because I don't want to give you credit for something. We had a nice, great coworker relationship during the Super Bowl last night.
We had a nice friend relationship during the game. We had a nice coworker relationship.
We left each other alone, basically.
We did.
And I did think probably, because they showed that replay a few times. And at one point I went, at some point Moulton tomorrow is going to give me the Belichick. I was prepared for this question.
Kind of hard.
The problem is I don't have much of a defense for that question. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I knew deep down that you were going to be, really? We can't review everything, huh?
Well, I do think, though, if you're the NFL, you escaped here. All right. You escaped. And now you get to go behind closed doors at some point this offseason and go, okay, now just imagine Bengals 20, Rams 16. All right. And the obvious missed offensive pass interference, face mask, whatever it is you want to call it, which literally was a gift touchdown, and the game's decided by 4 points. All right. Do we want to do anything going forward to prevent that play from being a touchdown, or are we just going to accept, I don't know what to tell you, you missed one.
Blake happens.
You missed one. Yeah, but it was a touchdown. Sometimes you know what happens. I mean, that's all. It's a simple question. You all answer it on your own. I would prefer that each team, like tennis, gets a certain number of challenges. You could say 3, whatever, but they literally get to raise their hand and go, you need to take a look at that one. Because to me, I mean, that's one of those, if I were the NFL, Mark, I would literally make it so that the hand of God could come down and go, yeah, that's coming back.
Well, it's interesting, David, because you and I are both hockey guys. Hockey's made a change in the game where you can challenge offsides call, and they've played a couple of minutes after, or they've had to take goals away, and they do it in the postseason because now they can challenge that particular call. The league does not want it. Is such in so many ways, David. That would have been the worst case scenario, and it still is not a great scenario because, based on the last run of challenges, they don't want to get involved with the replay booth calling offensive pass interference. It is their worst nightmare.
Sure.
Of all of the calls out there, they do not want to mess with, and I mean all of them, and I mean specifically offensive pass interference. They don't want to call that penalty.
And like many people in our Twitch chat room right now, Mark, are saying, yeah, but Ramsey then held receivers for the rest of the game. Well, think about it. If you're Jalen Ramsey, you just tried to cover the guy by the rules. He grabbed you by the face mask and threw you off balance to the ground, and they awarded him a touchdown. So you're like, well, apparently you're not calling anything today, are you? Fine. I'll just hold everybody. I mean, if you were Jalen Ramsey, you'd walk out onto the field next series 2 and go, so apparently you guys aren't calling penalties today. Oh, okay. Now that I know, all right, I'll play these last 25 minutes a little differently. And I get it. There was no litter all game. And then on the final drive, there were a handful of flags. I did think every one of them was a penalty. I really did. I'm glad they called the offensive holding. When Stafford rolled to his right and left the pocket, that tackle held that end. But I thought Apple tackled Cup. I thought it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. I thought it was holding over the middle. I thought they called 4 penalties. I thought they were all penalties. But obviously for 57 minutes, they let penalties go. Although it's not like they were showing us a bunch of replays in which I saw once Stafford threw it deep down the right sideline to Jefferson, and Apple clearly was holding his left arm, so Jefferson could only reach up with his one hand. Nobody said anything. Collinsworth didn't say anything. Jefferson didn't even complain.
Well, that was the other thing. Players weren't complaining. And it was chippy. It was a violent game. It was a very physical game.
Yeah.
And players weren't really complaining at referees. It was line up and let's get after it again.
Yep.
They realized pretty early on how the game was going to be officiated and played accordingly.
So are you okay with it?
Oh, I'm fine with it. I didn't like the call in the moment. I thought it was a bad call. I did. I kind of shook my head and went, really? And then I watched the replay and I still didn't think there was enough there based on how the game was called to call that. But to your point, David, the OPI was gross.
And I don't know about you, and I was rooting for the Bengals. I mean, come on now. Remember, I picked the Bengals 23-20. All right. And I was rooting for the Bengals. I root for fan bases that have never had a parade. I am very consistent about that. Hell, I rooted for the Eagles to win a Super Bowl over the Patriots as a Giants fan because the Eagles had not had a parade. And I had a bunch of Eagles friends growing up.
Buddy of mine who listens to the show back in Michigan, after you went 23-20, put $5 on 23-20 both ways. Picked up $505 for the win.
Nice.
Would have been $750. It would have been the other way.
Bengals?
Yeah.
All right. But Miller and Moulton, 29 minutes after the hour. Mark Zinno to talk not just about the game, but also the gambling aspect of it. There were some buttes yesterday. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Guardian Angel. I thought for the first time, Goodell in his State of the League address gave maybe a little hint that just maybe the league is fed up with Snyder. Because what they tried to keep quiet is now no longer quiet. That congressional investigation, and also I think Goodell is sensing that the first report's not going to stay quiet, and this second report's going to be very damning, and therefore the league's going to have to take some action against Snyder. I mean, we could have 2 ownership changes here in the next year. I mean, Denver's obviously going to have an ownership change. Do you see the story with that? Apparently the richest black man in America, a billionaire from Denver, league is begging him to make a bid for the team. Begging him. They, according to reports, they basically said, if you bid, you'll get it. It doesn't matter. We'll rig it. If you bid, all right, you'll get it. And he's got a lot of his money tied up into other things. And he's like, yeah, this doesn't, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of interested, but this really doesn't fit what I'm doing right now. I don't want to be laying out this much money right now. And apparently he's worth like $8 billion. So, to come up with 4, and apparently he's got a lot of money tied up. He's got it tied up in causes and tied up in voting rights. There are some causes he's very passionate about. He's raising a ton of money for something. And the NFL's like, please buy this team. And he and his people close to him have been like, this doesn't really, timing. And then you got Bezos sitting there going, well, just let me know. I mean, how much you need. And I think the NFL wants Bezos to buy Washington if they ever go that route.
Adam, how's the new coaster?
Why, Guardian Angel? He's got more money than whatever. He buys things and leaves them alone. I mean, he's bought the Washington Post. I mean, he's let the Post run a scathing series about him in the paper he owns.
Dan Snyder owns the Post?
Yes, sir.
Bezos owns the Post. And by the way,
Jeff Bezos, not Dan
Bezos. I thought you
Snyder.
were talking about Snyder.
no.
I'm sorry.
and Bezos has made it profitable.
I appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't, click the follow button. That would make me happy. Of course it is, Paul. It's always been the route. It's the only way. You don't drive through Orlando.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"24 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. A reminder, Saturday, 11 to 2, we'll be at the Braves complex, whether you think it's in Northport or Venice, wherever you believe it is.
Not going to let that go, are you?
Well, no,
where does it say it is on the press release?
it says Venice.
Then say Venice.
We'll be at the Braves complex in Venice Saturday, 11 to 2. Hope to see many of you there. Thanks to an event put on by one of our affiliates, 1070 The Zone, in Port Charlotte and Venice. Mark Zinno is kind enough to join us once again. You can follow him on Twitter at Mark Zinno, Zinno. You can see him on Sports Grid TV. You can listen to him on VSiN, and he also makes his picks with PicksWise. Mark, it's David and Mark. How you been? Well, he's been quiet.
He's been very quiet.
He's on the phone.
Okay, well.
Okay. Beyond that, it's on you, Felipe. No
Right.
offense here, okay? You problem shooting on air is not really what I call good radio. You getting them on air is what I call good radio.
So I would turn your mic off and pick up the phone. Hopefully we'll talk with Mark coming up here in a moment. That was great. It was Felipe going, "Hey, man, this ain't me. This ain't me."
You know, over the weekend, a lot of buttons get pushed around
Yeah,
here.
that's what I think happened. The studio's not set up the way it was on Friday.
No, there have been some shows in here since then, and
Yeah,
they may do their own
exactly.
thing.
Right. So, Felipe, yes or no? Do we have Mark?
Looks like a no.
That looks like a no.
That look of a deer in the headlights over there would signal to me that it's a no.
All right. Hopefully we'll catch up with Mark in a moment. That's outstanding. But obviously we're talking Super Bowl 56 and the game. We broke down halftime. We talked the commercials. Not to say we won't do it again, but already a lot going on the show. For the record, we both really like the halftime. That's our poll question. All right. What'd you think of halftime? Loved it. It was okay. Please don't go hip hop and rap again. Well, those are our three options. And I will say, last time I looked, Mark, nobody voted for It's Okay. It was either all love
Oh, yeah.
or all hate.
I think that's accurate.
See, I thought It's Okay would have gotten it because there are people that I know who are not into rap and hip hop, but actually thought that the performances, love the beat, love the choreography. And they're like, even though I didn't know the music, didn't understand half of it, you know what? It was fun. I kind of played along with it. They won me over.
And whatever the top 40 station is and whatever market you're listening to our show, I think there'd be a lot more It's Okays because you would have the more casual. I think in our end, they're either a love it or hate it type a person to these things because they were all our base is into the game.
Sure.
So the halftime's either something they're looking forward to, or it's time to recharge for the second half. There was no okays, I think, in that genre. But you know what I mean? The wives who don't listen to our show,
Right,
were more in the it's okay column.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I did. I don't know if you can do it every year. I do think you need to go from genre to genre to genre. Okay. And then maybe you can try to pull off one where you incorporate 3 or 4 genres together and everybody gets, 3 minutes to play half of 2 songs. But, it was the first all, rap hip hop halftime. And it fits. It's LA. They did the West Coast rap thing and they added 50 Cent, even though he's an East Coast guy. Dr. Dre instrumental along with Eminem and getting his career off the ground. Okay. I actually thought there were going to be more surprise performers.
Well, with that many people up there, there's only so many minutes. I was actually surprised there was one. I was kind of stunned when 50 Cent jumped out there. But I loved it. Loved every part of it. Thought it was terrific. Thought the game was great. It wasn't a fantasy football game. It was a football game.
Right.
There
It was a normal football game.
Normal play. I mean, not anymore. That's not that normal of a game, David. 43 points is not a normal football game anymore.
No, that's true. It was lower scoring than normal, although the playoffs were under.
No, there you go. Think about it. We had trained everyone that this up and down, scoring at will football is normal. Well, defense doesn't necessarily win championships, but you better have one come postseason. Because what did we end up with out of the 13 games? We ended up with,
We go 9-4.
I think 9 and 4 unders.
Yeah, I think we went 9 unders on the 13 playoff games. But what's remarkable is what Al Michaels referenced is that the last 7 playoff games we got this year, for as disappointing as wild card weekend was,
Super wild card weekend.
I'm sorry, Mark, for as disappointing as super wild card weekend was,
Thank you, David.
our last 7 playoff games, 6 of them were decided by a field goal, and the Chiefs beat the Bills by 6 by scoring that touchdown on the first play of overtime. Obviously, if the Chiefs hadn't rallied in the final 13 seconds, we would have had the last 7 playoff games, the complete divisional round, the complete conference championship Sunday, and the Super Bowl, all decided by a field goal. And over half of those games decided literally on the last play of the game.
If you want to text the show, text 21,000. Text FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000, like this person did and said, my wife and I were bumping and grinding during the halftime show. The daughter came out and couldn't believe me and her mom were dancing.
Nice. Nice. When's the last time that happened? Well, based off of music that you're watching on television. I just, come on now. You know what I'm asking.
And this person says they were fine with a halftime show, but pretty pathetic that someone said to say they had to hate cops with everything that's been going on in our country recently. And valid point.
It was in the original lyrics. All right.
Yep.
It was. And so, he just sang what he sang 20 years ago, actually longer than that.
Right.
I mean, it goes back 30 years ago.
About. There you go.
And the NFL, according to reports, the NFL really wanted him to not say it. And apparently they were asking the artist to really not do a lot of things. And if you believe reports, that the artist complied with all but 2. And that was Eminem kneeling, which I think most people didn't even notice.
Unless they went to social media after. That's when, as someone said, I had no idea until I went to social media after the performance.
And then the line late. And once again, and some people may give me grief for this, But since it's such a big audience, how many of the 100 to 110 million people who are watching at halftime, how many do you think didn't know who the artists were? And I wondered if they should have put a graphic up as to letting you know, hey, this is Dr. Dre.
I actually
this is Eminem.
thought
This
the
is-
same thing as it was going on, David.
Just because, I mean, they were making a big deal about we're going to showcase this genre, which we largely avoid. I mean, how many people know, that was Fitty? Honestly, now granted, when you first see him, he's upside down. Okay, so we got to wait a little while. We got to wait till, we can actually see him. And then as most people joke, 50 cent is now $1. Hey, aren't most of us?
Right.
But I actually thought,
It means Chris Rose is $1.50.
it just
He's beefy.
you go from baseball to football, and
Wow,
apparently-
he became a lineman.
at least an H-back.
He was small. When we sat down with him, he was skinny, David.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was also a while ago.
About 15 years ago.
Right. We're all beefier. Most of us,
In
anyway.
fact, it was 15 years. Well, yeah, I get it. But, whoo.
Mm-hmm. But he's not on the baseball show anymore. So he's, let himself go a little bit.
Get it together.
That's what a year's severance will do, Mark.
I mean, you're right next to Joe Thomas, who's lost a person since he quit playing.
He really has.
And he looks terrific.
He does. Yeah.
I mean, he and Pollock are competing for how skinny we can be of being former linemen.
I mean, that Hall of Fame jacket, all right, is going to look great when he goes in here pretty soon. But we're obviously having some difficulties with the phones, which I guess means that we'll wrap up the rest of our guests as well and let them know, sorry, we can't get you on the air today.
And let's just hope we can fix it by tomorrow because Pat Kerwin's scheduled to join us on the show.
Right. And hopefully by then he'll be back in the Eastern time zone because Pat was doing pre and post on NFL radio yesterday. So I don't know if Pat's getting back today. Like, I'm curious where Pat's doing his show from this afternoon.
Well, you said there was one direct out of L.A. early, right? To
Well,
Fort Myers?
Well, and my guess is he'll fly. Yeah, maybe he'll come back to the 239, but he may just actually head to Jersey and or New York and
Because it's easier.
do the show from there and then, travel wherever it is he's going to travel. But yeah, Pat put in a long day, and I'm surprised, quite frankly, if they can do it on NFL radio. I was surprised the post game did not involve Eisen, Mariucci, Warner, Irvin. They're your guys. It is the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a long day. I get it. And a 9 a.m. show Eastern is 6 a.m. out there. Well, you do it every week. I don't know what to tell you. Take a nap. Yeah, you're doing pre and post. It's a Super Bowl. Probably your biggest audience of the year. I was surprised, that they had the proverbial B team doing NFL postgame.
I was stunned. They've got two sets. They've got Rose and Thomas in the venue, and then they have, and what's the lady's name that was out with Steve Smith? But the two of them outside kind of to set up. I kept waiting for the A-team. You don't want Rich Eisen doing interviews with players after the game. He's kind of good at it. So I was a little surprised by that as well. To not have your most seasoned people talking to the players and coaches following the game.
Rams 23, Bengals 20. Your thoughts on the game? Text FSN Radio to 21,000, FSN Radio to 21000. Did you make money? Did you lose money? Did the officiating bother you? Or were you able to live with it? I was able to live with it, and I was rooting for the Bengals. I would have a hard time listening to a Bengals fan today complaining about that holding call that you didn't like on 3rd and goal.
Great game, but the Bengals should have won. I think this person feels that way.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. I was in a massive group chat with friends, and everybody was talking about the OPI. And a couple of the Bengals, there was two Bengals fans. Everybody else didn't have a dog in the fight. And the expletives that were flying over basically getting away with one, and they were fine with getting away with the call. Knew they got away with one and fine with it, yet can't handle the other call being made.
And I don't know how you felt as it was unfolding, but I mean, the holding call only was half the distance to the goal. So I think that only put them like inside the 4. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's not like they can run it.
Right.
So they're going to have to throw this ball into the end zone. Now, when they called then you had the offsetting penalties. Okay, fine. We'll do it again. Then when they tackled Apple, or when Apple tackled Cup, and it's like, oh, well, okay, now they're going to put it at the 1. I even then said, I don't know if they'll be able to run this in. And then Stafford tries to sneak it.
And goes nowhere.
Right. So they got a full yard. They got to go here. And I'm thinking, I don't think they'll try to run it again.
Really curious at that point why Apple was one-on-one with Cooper Kupp.
I was surprised they went that route. I thought Apple was going to be, although Beckham was out of the game at that point, but I thought they were going to have Hilton on them.
Yeah, that was the only thing I tweeted. Why is Eli Apple on Cooper Kupp right there? That was my tweet of the game. I didn't understand that.
We thought they would put they would put Apple on Beckham and Hilton on Kupp. For whatever that's worth, that's what we thought. In part, Apple and Beckham were teammates. They practiced against one another. You know, the familiarity that Apple has with Odell. Okay. And also, I thought Kupp was too quick for Apple. I know Kupp's, for a little guy, a physical receiver, and Apple's got some size to him. And maybe that's what they were thinking down there, that Apple could really, jam him, hold him up. But I was surprised they didn't go with their other corners in that situation. Were you surprised the 4th down for the Bengals?
That they threw it?
And
yeah, they were averaging about 4 yards a carry.
Now, granted, they had just tried to run it 3rd and about 1.5 yards and only picked up half of it. I was surprised that, Mixon wasn't on the field. It was P. Ryan. I was surprised Mixon wasn't on the field. And, they called timeout. So they had a chance to make a substitution and all that. And the other part of me was, I thought, Burrow's, I think I'd sneak it here. Now, I know with the time that was left and you only had one timeout, so then you risk, do I have to burn it? Do I have to clock it? Now do I have to hurry and run a first down play with the clock going? I get it. But, you got to keep the game going here. And to me, the play call there was kind of like, I'm still thinking about scoring 7. And I don't know about you, but I'm watching it going, dude, you got to get in field goal range first. I mean, you're not that far away from McPherson. I thought anything inside 60, he was sending him out there, and that was about 7 yards away. Speaking of McPherson, how about him sitting there watching the halftime show?
Absolutely spectacular. It's really spectacular.
If a kicker could become one of your new favorite players, he's it.
I mean, I know it's Joe Cool. I get it. And the outfit proved it walking into the game. But this McPherson kid, holy Toledo, he's there to have some fun.
Only a star quarterback. That and a diva wide receiver. When I saw Burrow walking in with that, I go, man, there are not many people that can pull this off.
Miller and Moulton. Vote on our poll question about halftime. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. We'll continue on the other side. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm going to stop in and talk to Adam after the show too about the come to my attention. This is what's going on. He's the guy in charge. Well, that's the question I'm going to ask. That's my only question. Are you aware? Come to my attention. You don't run promo. So he may say, "Oh, I will." I mean, I'm going to say no one really listens to him anyhow, but it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't think the fans and players, the NFL players aren't going to take a back seat, you know, with that. That's more of an ego buy. He's doing this third. David, turn your mic off. I forgot exactly who it was that I was thinking about that yesterday. You're right. Which the funny thing was, he said, you know, I'll make sure I'm in here to tell you I'm wrong when I'm no, you're not, because you're drunk, hungover, and not getting up this morning.
Sorry about this, guys. We're about to go try to reset the phones, see what happens.
Okay.
And I talked to Mark. He told me to text him if we get the phones back on. He said he can come back for next hour.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. C. Gamble, thanks for the follow. Guardian Angel, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. These are the things that make me happy. I've got the director of programming in on this right now. That's not a joke. He's actually in his office this morning before 8 o'clock. Unlike the program director for this station, who won't be here until about 10:30. Detsker, when it and I thought the same thing when they started coming back in that touch. I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Bengals in the second half.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Final hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, and 1070 The Zone in Port Charlotte and Venice. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Got a text. Quick sidebar, ladies and gentlemen, if you bear with me, 23 seconds. Quick text from someone who's never texted the show. Text on Friday and said, why is it you say Florida Sports Network twice? I can honestly answer you, sir. I don't know. I think it's just, we're new and we just want to I want to pound it in there.
I think he's trying to teach himself.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, he's trying to make sure that he knows the name of it.
Because for 15 years, I've been mentioning a singular station. Whether I'm working locally or nationally, it's just, you're used to mentioning, like I just said, thanks to the good folks at 1070 The Zone. Normally that's what you're used to. So, Mark, maybe you're on.
Not to mention the good folks at 1010 Money Talk, the good fans up in Lake City.
Yeah, 1061. So, I don't know.
We want texts from all of you, including those of you in the 239 listening on Southwest Florida's ESPN radio.
I don't know why I double down on Florida Sports Network. I've been trying to only do it once today, sir, just for you. And you know who you are.
If he starts by saying, I'm the David Moulton, then you really need to worry.
But we are Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thank you so much for listening, and obviously Super Bowl 56 dominating any and all conversation. Rams a winner. Bengals covered. The under was the play. Cooper Kupp MVP. You and I would have gone Stafford, right?
I would have voted for Stafford. I would have. I think he lost it because of the second half interception that wasn't his fault.
But they're all the quarterbacks.
I understand that.
You get the glory.
No.
You get the blame.
I got you, and he does get the blame for that because the first one probably cost them 3 points. They would have gotten a field goal on that bomb. They were within field. I think they were within.
No, they were just outside, and it was 3rd and 14. Because remember, they were on the edge of field goal range. They got a motion penalty.
That's right.
Moved them out.
That's right.
And then they lost yardage. So I took that as a
punt
that was a touchback. I didn't have a huge problem with it. I thought of all the mistakes / infractions that really hurt was after the interception, the former Gator DB who's in street clothes ran out onto the field. I got to admit, I would have been okay with a warning. I mean, 15 yards. I know he broke the rules. It's just that to me would have been one of those things in which it's like, hey, dude, you can't do this. Get off the field. Get off, especially since play was over. In fact, we were already in a commercial, I think, or damn close to it, because it was at the 2-minute warning too. It was picked off with exactly 2 minutes
right.
left.
I know, and I think it was the 40-yard sprint to the other sideline.
No,
You know, I mean, to me, the warning is if you're 10 steps on the field, you're on your side of the sideline. But
so at first glance, I was like, oh man, do we really have to throw 15 yards? Everyone I've talked to has said, yeah, actually you do. You can't have people not in uniform running onto the field, even during 2-minute warnings, after the play, the whole deal. All right. Okay. I get it. I guess.
But it was a big penalty.
No doubt, because you're thinking the Bengals 3 timeouts, 2 minutes to go. If they're starting at the 20, they're just going to go 4 wide and, Burrow's going to do his thing. And instead, they're starting at the 10. And that's kind of the first time that, they were conservative. Thought the defensive line starting to, for the first time, push the pocket a little bit. There are a lot of decisions in this game. So the Rams I think they get a first down and then they have to punt. And the Bengals have the ball at midfield there, and it's 4th and a long yard. I can honestly tell you, what I was saying. Punt the damn ball.
Punt the ball.
Punt the damn ball.
We're in a game that looks as if already defense is good. Punt the ball. Make teams work. And I know field possession isn't a cool thing to say anymore, but you flip the field right there.
Well, there's no doubt you're punting at midfield. I mean, worst case scenario, you bang it in the end zone, they start at the 20, but you're probably going to punt one up there, fair catch it at the 10. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere between the 10 and 15-yard line and say, okay, Matt,
there you go.
Go get me 85.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the defense runs out there and you're starting at the 10. And the Bengals are thinking, well, they can't run the ball. We're going to make them prove to us that they can run the ball. And boy, could they not.
No, and they kept trying.
Well, and not only that, they kept trying with Cam Akers.
Yeah. Sony Michel. How many carries did Sony Michel have? 1, 2?
Yeah. Come on, man. I mean, the comeback was great. He's clearly not the Cam Akers he was before he injured himself in training camp. I mean, there's no burst there. There isn't. I mean, he
had
still
one good run the
runner.
whole game. It was the one that got him down inside the 10.
Right. His last carry of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his best run. He got 6 yards. But, I mean, before that, I think he had like 44 yards, or the Rams had 44 yards on 22 carries, I think, before that run. And he, at one point, had 13 yards on 11 carries.
11 carries.
I mean, I couldn't believe.
And Stafford had, of those yards you're talking about, Stafford had at that point 7.
Yeah, right. And he's not even trying. So, by the way, for those of you, and we're guessing most of you don't gamble, but a lot of you now are, and a lot of you also place wagers on the Super Bowl. Got to be the worst beat of the day. Stafford's over-under rushing yards. Don't know how many of you are familiar with this. The over-under was 6.5. When Aaron Donald is throwing Joe Burrow to the ground and the ball is landing harmlessly, Matthew Stafford had 7 yards rushing with an over-under of 6.5. Mark, what was the next play?
A kneel down.
Right.
To end the game. Kneel downs, unlike sacks, which do not count against the quarterback's yardage in the professional game, they do for whatever reason in the college game. It's one of the more asinine stats on the planet. But in the pro game, sacks do not count against the rushing yards of the quarterback. However, when you kneel down, that is considered a rush. Minus 1 yard, he ended up with 6.
Right. Over under 6.5. Gotta be the baddest beat of all the bets out there. Now, I know those of you who have squares and the Rams total, being 1 point less because of the botched hold. Hey, I get it. There's no doubt. That hurts. That hurts, especially since the halftime score, instead of 13-10, in theory, would have been 14-10, which then, of course, you're thinking that the final score would have been 24-20. I mean, that's halftime and the game.
Final,
I mean,
right.
That's money. That's, Scrabble with triple bonus points and all that. I mean, you're a big man on campus or big secretary on campus, whatever the case may be today. Big nurse on campus, big teacher on campus. I mean, you're rolling in it. You get the halftime and the final squares. So now, whoever had Rams 3 and Bengals 0, you're in the money, baby. All because of the botched snap. But that's probably the baddest beat of the day. I'll try to come up with something that's better, but that's going to be tough to do. And ironically, Mark, it happened 2 years ago in the Super Bowl in Miami. Mahomes' rushing total was significantly higher, but the final 3 plays, the Chiefs were trying to avoid having to run a 4th down play. And they had to run a little bit of time on those final 3
Right.
plays.
So you couldn't kneel down. You had to kind of back up,
and
kneel.
so Mahomes had a play in which he kind of ran around a little bit and took a significant loss. It was like at least a 7-yard loss. And it did not go down as a sack. It went down as a rush. And because of it, Mahomes' rushing total over-under went from over to under. 2 of the last 3 years, the kneel downs have essentially determined the rushing total for the winning quarterback. I digress.
But, I mean, the bad beat could just simply be having, the bad beat's Mattress Mac not taking the points, David.
I know. He was getting greedy. He was going money line.
I mean, even on the second bet to say, you know what, I'm going to hedge my bet here, and I'm going to take the $5 million just straight with the points.
I believe it ended up 4 at kickoff, right? Which, if the hold is proper, is it right on the money? But I think Vegas had a good day overall, though.
They have a good day when it's under. 55% of the public bets the over.
And when the favorite doesn't cover.
Yeah, that was a good day for Vegas. And 29 other states where you could gamble legally, one of them not being Florida.
Anthem went over. Heads. Apparently tails can fail. Also a stat that was broken. Apparently it had been 7 consecutive Super Bowls. Okay, that the team that lost the coin toss had won the game.
Ooh.
And didn't the Bengals lose? The Rams called it because the Rams were the visiting team.
Right,
which
the Rams
hysterical.
called it, got it wrong.
So the Rams lost the toss but won the game.
Right.
That snapped a skid of 7 consecutive games in which the team that lost the toss, all right,
also lost the game.
So Miller and Moulton. 12 minutes past the hour. Your thoughts, whether it be watching us on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel or chiming in on our text line. FSN Radio, if you never have before, all one word, FSN Radio. Send it to 21,000 21000. Miller and Moulton on the aforementioned Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Thank you.
Okay, he thought because I called him as soon as he
wound his arm. That was the second one.
Because Gary and I call each other like 12 times a game. And I called him and I went, what the? And he goes, no, actually, I'm okay with it. I went, oh, no way. I said, I'm sorry, man. I said, I got a game every week. No way. I
got to look at something here.
Sonny, don't quote me. Well, then maybe it's now 8 in a row. So maybe I got it wrong. The team that has lost the toss has now won 8 in a row.
We have the right item at the right price to help you celebrate.
Hello? Oh, we got it. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got the phones back.
Great. We missed out on Mark Zinno and Joe Theismann.
I can try to call Mark right now. We can get him on this segment right here.
I don't think so.
No?
No. All right, you hold on. Do you want Mark Zinno?
Okay.
Do you want him? You want him now or 8:35?
I'd do it now if we're going to do it.
All right, sure. We'll do it now.
All right.
1-800-7.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$19 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We think now we've got things worked out. Mark Zinno's kind enough to rejoin us. He's on Sports Grid TV. He's on Beeson Radio. He makes picks on PicksWise. He also does a great podcast, the Hazard Ground podcast as a former Army vet. Mark, it's David. And Mark, it's been a while. How are you?
Gentlemen, it is great to be with you this morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, first of all, I'll just throw it in underhanded. Your thoughts on the game? Is there something bothering you when it was over? Just, Super Bowl 56. Go.
I thought it was a very competitive back and forth game, which is what I think we expected. I hate the fact that the referees had to inject themselves into it at the very end. I mean, you could argue that the Cincinnati touchdown to T. Higgins was offensive pass interference, and they didn't call it. But that holding call inside the 5-yard line was just a really bad way to inject the officiating into this game. It was pretty competitive, and obviously could have had an outcome. Could have had an effect on the outcome of the entire game. It went under like I thought it was going to. I said repeatedly, I did not see a way that the Bengals could win an over game. I saw a way that they could win an under game. I saw a way, obviously, that the Rams could win an under game, just like they did against San Francisco. But, I am still marvel at both these coaches. I don't think either one of these coaches are very good. And one of them now has a Super Bowl championship on his resume, and the other one has been to a Super Bowl. When you have a 3rd and 1 with the Super Bowl on the line, and you decide to give the ball to Samaj P. Ryan,
Well,
Mark?
I think Mark just went through a bad sell.
Yeah, I think we lost him for a half a second there.
Mark, do we have you back?
you got me right here.
Okay. We lost you for half a second after the P. Ryan comment. We may have just laughed so hard we knocked your phone out of your hands. I'm just curious, when you say neither coach is that good, let's start with McVay. Why?
Well, how many times did you want to run Cam Akers into a brick wall and not throw the ball to Cooper Kupp through the first 3 quarters of the game? Like, I mean, at some point in time, you have to recognize what's working and what doesn't and make an adjustment on the fly. And that's not what Sean McVay did. Like, he waited 3 quarters to start feeding Cooper Kupp his very best receiver, his very best player, for what reason I can't understand. Like, if they had done that for 4 quarters, they would have blown that team out.
All right. Your gripes with Taylor, besides having P. Ryan in there on 3rd down, I didn't have as big a problem with 3rd down as I did on 4th.
Well, I mean, again, you were going for it there regardless. And it's one of those things where it's like, call your 3rd down play with your 4th down play in mind. And it's just, a lot of coaches don't do that very well. They're not able to successfully run those plays back to back. They call them separately of each other, which is, again, questionable as far as head coaching is concerned. Taylor's game management sometimes is off. He wasn't terrible in the Super Bowl, but I said repeatedly leading up to this thing, too much Samaj P. Ryan, get that guy off the field. It was smart of him to sort of feed Chase, but I would have forced the ball to him more. I would have gotten the ball into Chase's hands more, and put yourself in positions where they have to start opening things up for other guys. He only got 5 catches. His over receptions was 5.5. I bet the over, so I'm a little bit sour. But, I think in general, it's one of those things where it's like more Joe Mixon, more Jamar Chase, give the ball to your best players and let them go win you a game. And that's not what Zach Taylor does enough of.
It's a great point. Even on the 4th and 1, they give it to Cooper Kupp. They can't run the ball. So what do? They give it to Cooper Kupp on a little bit of an end around type play. We didn't see Chase in that same fashion, and they weren't able to get him the ball throwing the ball. The lines now by the middle of the 3rd quarter can't block anymore. It may have been an alternative, because I was surprised we didn't see Chase get the ball in other ways.
I mean, you just got to put the ball in the guy's hands and let him do what he does. Like, you've got to create ways for him as a playmaker to be able to get a ball and make something happen. I mean, that's just generally what it boils down to. That's what coaching is all about. That's what experience is all about.
Mark Zinno, you see him on Sports Grid TV. You listen to him on VSiN. He makes picks on PicksWise. He also has the Hazard Ground podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Mark Zinno, ZINNO. Well, we detailed what we think is the worst beat, which is Stafford's over-under rushing total being 6.5, and the kneel down took an over and made it an under. Anything else that you noticed about the game?
I mean, I think Odell Beckham Jr. clearly would have hit his over on receptions and yardage had he been able to stay in the game. I mean, that was disappointing. I like him for the last 3 weeks in the playoffs, and he paid off every single time. And it would have worked out, though. And again, he had 3 catches for 52 yards before he went down in the second quarter with an injury. So I thought that sort of changed the outcome, or at least changed the game plan. Like, and this is, again, where I don't think McVay made great adjustments. Okay, you lost Odell Beckham Jr., and so you clearly have to start shifting things around, because with him not on the field, they were able to change their coverage and so that part, I think, from a betting standpoint was one of those things that was really, really tough. I would tell you that the best win that I had was the first half under at 23.5, because, well, guess what? The guy who dropped the hold, thank you very much, because he makes that extra point. That thing goes over to 24, and everybody who had the first half under at 23.5, well, that was, that was a gift, but I will take it.
Right. The worst one out there may be the missed PAT, because technically that ends up being a missed 2-point conversion because he threw the ball. That might be the worst beat of the game. I'm just curious, Mark, how much action, how many different wagers did you make yesterday?
I think it was 7 or 8. I had Bengals plus 4.5. I had Rams -3 in the first half, which ended up being a push. I had the first half under 23.5. I had both Beckham's receptions and receiving yards. I had under 47.5 longest field goal, which hit. I had over 5.5 sacks, which hit. I think there was 1 or 2 more that I had in there that I'm forget. Oh, it was Joe Burrow's over 11.5 rushing yards. I was kind of surprised. I mean, he didn't get great protection, but the difference between this game and Cincinnati for Burrow was that, the rush lanes were wide open. He was able to take off and run. And I thought I'd see that again. I thought that I would see his rush lanes be a lot more open and him be able to take off and run. And he didn't do that at all. I mean, Aaron, all the pass rush came up the middle. Burrow didn't roll out. He just sort of collapsed in the pocket. And that was the other bet I had a decent chunk on that didn't come through, was Burrow was over 11.5 rushing yards.
Mark, heading into next year, we will have this playoff run in, the taste in our mouth, so to speak. The last 7 games being all so competitive, but also a Cincinnati Bengals team making the Super Bowl, and then an all-in team making it and winning it. In many ways, I know they might not be the 2 most high-profile franchises, but Mark, to me, I feel that this was a spectacular NFL season for what it sets up. We have a motto on this show: you either have to win or have hope. And I thought that literally these 2 teams making the game and it going the way it did fits both.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, the Bengals, run was beyond impressive. But you got to remember, it's just one of those things. Remember, all 3 of their first playoff wins came down to the final play of the game, right? Like, that's really hard to do in the playoffs against really good teams. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Bengals even get past the Buffalo Bills. The Bills would have smoked that team in Buffalo. Obviously the Bills didn't do their job. So, but those kind of runs are fun and exciting because it does give teams hope, right? It gives a lot of teams hope that, hey, all we got to do is get a couple of bounces our way, and all of a sudden we're playing in the Super Bowl. I don't think this was a kind of game that, like, if it was week 13, this isn't the 4 o'clock, 4:25 window primetime game. This isn't the Sunday night. This is a game that's not even on at the bar that you're watching because no one really cares publicly about these 2 teams, right? Like, it's just, there wasn't really we tried to force sexiness on this Super Bowl with making Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, and everything else. And, like, I get it, but there wasn't really a lot of interesting storylines about this Super Bowl other than Matt Stafford leaving and the Rams going all in and trying to win this thing. And the frustration for me with the Rams winning it is we have to have this asinine, moronic, insane debate about Matt Stafford getting in the Hall of Fame now. I can't stomach any more of this lunacy.
Well, it's funny you say that because I got a young podcaster who's been all over me for about 2 years, always saying Stafford was a Hall of Famer. As soon as he got to the game, of course, he starts lighting me up again. I didn't think so then. I don't think so now. He wins another one before his career's over. We can talk. the one storyline that I think would have been crazier this morning, you mentioned it, Beckham goes over. David and I talked earlier. He's having a first half that he doesn't get hurt. It may not have been Cooper Kupp getting that MVP award, and then I think that would have really added to a storyline if Beckham plays the whole game, because he was terrific throughout the whole playoffs.
No, absolutely. And I think that he was standing. I mean, 60% of Beckham's catches this playoffs were for first downs. He became a legitimate target in that offense for Matt Stafford. And again, good for him. It was great to see him finally settle into a place where, he's not the problem. He's more of the solution. But just unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to finish the game.
If he's healthy enough for next year, I think there's going to be quite a market in him. Don't see him returning to LA because of the cap situation, but I could see a team like the Chiefs wanting to add him to Tyreek and Kelsey in a big way. Mark, thanks for coming back after our technical difficulties. Safe travels, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Anytime. Stay well.
Mark Zinno, Zinno is how you follow him on Twitter. And he's on a few different mediums. And as a former Army soldier, he does a tremendous podcast for veterans. You may want to check that out as well. Very quickly, as we head to break, the Bengals reaching the Super Bowl and nearly winning it. With where they were a year ago today, day after the Super Bowl and what have you, and the Bengals odds, these are the teams that are in the same area code that the Bengals were in a year ago today. The Giants are 100-1. The Jags are a 125-1. The Lions are 150-1.
Get your money down.
The Texans and Jets are both 200-1. That's where the Bengals came from. That's the territory that they were sleeping in a year ago today. And look how close they came.
Remarkable.
I mean, is there anything we could do to convince anybody to put $5 on the Giants, Jags, Lions, Texans, and Jets and not think they are 100% throwing their money away?
Well, is Deshaun Watson going to play for the Texans? Because out of those, that one, I mean, there's one team on that list that could get there because they have a quarterback, if they have a quarterback.
All right.
Everybody else,
right?
You'd have to give me the money.
I understand. Bears and Panthers 80-1. Here's the interesting one. Right now, you want to throw down a few shekels? The Steelers are 60-1. We don't know who their quarterback is.
Nope. I just know a guy that really likes their coach.
Right.
His name's Aaron Rodgers.
Correct. Just throwing that out there. Of all the really long shot teams right now that might be worth a shekel, that might be the team.
The Steelers?
The Steelers.
Huh.
27 minutes.
The Ends might want to get 25 bucks on that one pretty quick.
Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
All right.
We'll find out the reach of the show. We'll see what the odds are tomorrow, Mark. If 60-1 becomes 58-1, we really got it going on. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So yeah, we just unplugged and plugged it back in.
There it is.
Glecko, I'd love for Odell to take his talents to South Beach. The Stillers. Love that. I was so pissed off when Odell got injured.
Dolphins 40-1. Steelers, Commanders, Falcons 60-1. Raiders 50-1. Dolphins, Eagles, Browns, Seahawks all 40-1. Hey, how about Russell Wilson sitting with Goodell, second Super Bowl
Yeah,
in a row?
Saw that?
What's up with that?
2 in a row. What is up with that?
Russ.
Saints 35-1, Vikings 30-1, Chargers, Colts, Cardinals, Patriots all 25-1.
You know, the way you made it sound how that's where the Bengals come from. Man, they came from the mud.
Yeah.
They were picked fourth by everybody in their division.
Yeah. Yes,
Everybody. Us included. You got to remember the other 3 teams all made the playoffs last year.
You weren't going on any limb doing this. It's not, I mean,
right.
No one's wrong. That's the thing.
The other 3 teams made the playoffs last year. 2 of the 3 won playoff games. And the only reason the Steelers lost is because they played the Browns.
Well, and that they suck.
I was going to say.
But
I'm just saying. So, and they end up winning a division in which the 3 teams ahead of them from a year ago all made the playoffs. 2 of them won a playoff game.
By the way, I don't know if did you happen to, I'm diverting here, but did you see my tweet from Saturday? I went to Pot Stroke with my daughter.
Yes. Loved it.
Work with me, ball. Like, I know it's coming from me.
You think? That's awesome.
But she made a hole in one, made a legit one.
Mm-hmm.
So she was pretty pumped. About 4 holes later, she just burns the edge. And I'd left it a little short. Just looked at me with just this pissed off look. That should have been a 1.
Klecko, he got shot at, but didn't get shot. Apparently, some dude.
Who?
Rapper Kodak Black.
Oh, it's the one that was banging in
yes,
at the Panthers game.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
He got shot at in L.A. You saw, because you know how Russell Wilson is married to Ciara?
Mm-hmm.
You know how Ciara had a kid with Future, the rapper?
No.
So there's a rapper named Future. Ciara had a kid with her.
Oh.
And Russell Wilson and Ciara went to Drake's Super Bowl party Saturday night, and Drake brought out Future as a guest, and they abruptly left.
No, I could see where they would.
Yeah.
Johnny, we're going to get to that right now. We had a guest there.
"30 seconds. "15 seconds. Klecko, you got to watch Caleb Presley from Barstool's Sunday Conversation with Kodak Black. he's really not all there. We're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes before the hour, our final segment for 3 of our 4 affiliates here on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Just seeing whether or not Mark was paying attention.
I was. You did it twice.
To me doubling down. The bonus hour coming up at the top of the hour. Our poll question, your thoughts on the halftime show. Loved it? It was all right. You know. Or, oh, man, don't do that again. And it's a love them or hate them poll question, seemingly, with it's okay. Not getting a whole lot of response.
Right now, it's getting 15, 16%. Please not again, 17%. 67% of you are 2/3 of you all in.
Love that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
But, David, we got this comment in the Twitch chat room.
All right.
And I didn't, you and I talked about it last break, but then we fixed our problems with the phones and had Mark Zinno on. So this said, simply just said, my bride needs to know what's the deal with the clock. A player goes out of bounds and the official signals timeout, then the clock continues to run. WTF? Believe he's referring to the end of the first half and the Bengals having the ball.
Right.
And on 2 occasions, not one, but 2 different occasions, a player was at one play forced out of bounds, another time ran out of bounds, and neither time the clock stopped.
All right. Well, I can read you the official rule. If a player in possession of the ball has his forward progress stopped inbounds and is then pushed out of bounds, the officials may mark the player down inbounds at the point of forward progress and signal for the clock to continue running. If you remember the end of the first half, I believe that specifically applies to the second play, to the far sideline.
Okay.
All right, that they decided that's the case here. Progress was stopped inbounds. He was kind of being shoved out of bounds.
And the official, you could see windmilling the whole time, which means keep the clock winding.
Right. And I believe one of the teams called the timeout afterwards. The first one surprised me. I got to be honest. And I called a few people as it was going on going, what? Why? And was told, well, you got to make a move upfield. And I'm like,
I get it.
Not really.
I get it. Technically you do, but that's not how they typically call it.
Come on now. We've been running short outs forever, and the receiver catches the ball, gets the 2 feet down, and, goes out of bounds.
Yeah, I was stunned by both of them.
I was stunned by the first one. I was not stunned by the second one. That technically that's the rule book, the second one. Because he was tackled and his forward progress stopped inbounds and was basically shoved out of bounds, and the receiver went along with it. The first one, still to this moment, I'm very surprised about. And I know some officials going to tell me by the letter of the law. I don't know, man. We see that all the time. I mean,
and the letter of the law at the end of the first half is usually when they're not using the letter of the law. I mean, they're kind of giving them a benefit of a doubt to stop the clock. I found it strange, at the very least.
Yes. From first glance, to me, that looked, we all have things need to look a certain way for us. And I think when most of us saw that play, and we all watch a lot of football, we're like, well, the clock should stop there. That's a short out, 7-8 yard gain, 2nd and 2. And why is the clock running? We're less than 2 minutes ago. The clock should not be running here. I will say the 2 people I called both agreed with the official's decision. I'm with you in the text that we've gotten here and the comments in our Twitch chat room. To me, it looked like the clock should not be running. And it clearly impacted what it is that, and also that was after the 15-yard penalty or half the distance of the goal. So they're starting from the 10. Now the clock is running, so by the time, and I think it caught them by surprise that the clock was running. So then by the time they look up, and so now it's like, well, we probably should be conservative here.
Yeah, just found that to be very odd, to say the least. In the moment, that was probably the only time that I still wouldn't call, even though I know you're taking calls during the game from certain people, because I feel pretty comfortable watching a game that I know what the rules are most times. And I'm watching that, not having, yelling at the TV going, why is the clock running? So I thought that was a bad break for the Bengals in that. But all in all, David and I have spent the majority of the show talking about a couple of plays, the defensive holding play on the third down on Kupp and the OPI. And throughout the show, David simply said, I've got problems with you if you're blaming the one call, not talking about the other.
I understand they called the game a certain way. Tony Dungy's really bothered by it. He sent out a tweet. He said you call the game a certain way for 58 minutes and then you call it differently at the end. He basically said that's bull. I will say this. They threw the flag 4 times at the end of the game. Any one of them not a penalty? Anyone? Now, I mean, I'll completely disagree with those that don't think, and hey, we just had Mark Zinno on, and he hated the holding call.
I hated it in the moment. I thought it was, I text my group text, awful call. That was the phrase that I used. I didn't like it in the moment.
I thought it was clear holding twice. Now, were they letting them play for 58 minutes and then all of a sudden they decide to throw a flag? Yep. But for the Bengals, and to their credit, I haven't heard anybody, just fans, just media, complain. Didn't hear a single Cincinnati Bengal complain.
Even Taylor after the game said, he said we took a penalty. We took a couple penalties late. He didn't, he made it matter of fact, well, when you take a couple of penalties late, that it was tough on our defense when you start taking penalties. But he didn't complain about it. He acknowledged it.
Obviously, the Bengals had a long stretch there in the second half where their defense was really stuffing the Rams, where if they had done anything, they put the game away.
Well, and you can look at to me, Boyd dropping the ball there. How big is that for his first drop of the year? That's a first down.
Well, would it have been a first down? See, I think he dropped it 2.5 yards short of the first down.
Yep.
They're going to make contact short of the first down. To me, what would have been interesting is, Zach Taylor was Mr. Go for it on 4th and 1 all game. Would he have gone for it on that 4th and 1?
If it would have been, because I thought the momentum that he had, if he catches that ball, he's going to have enough juice to get there. I thought he had it. We don't know.
Yeah. I think he gets hit a yard plus short, and then, we'll see what kind of a tackle it is and all that.
Which way is gravity going to take us at that point?
But, yep, little things. I'll say this, though. When they punted and Stafford and company got the ball back with 6 minutes to go, I mean, we'd all watched the same offense for the last hour plus. You think they were driving it down the field and scoring?
I definitely thought there was a drive coming because, David, you've beaten me up with this for 5 years, and rightly so. And I didn't know the play total at that point, but it's just getting to that point in the game where we've run a lot of plays and defenses wear down. Football has turned into a fourth quarter game in which defenses are out of gas. So I knew there was a drive coming. Did I know if it was going to be a scoring drive? No. But I was pretty certain that we were going to see them get the ball at least inside the 30, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm with you there. I thought, well, first off, they're going to force feed it to Kupp here. I would have been bugging Troy for about a half an hour now going, well, where the hell's Cooper Kupp? Why are they not throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp? I mean, once Beckham got hurt, I was thinking to myself, well, you got to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. And
Right.
instead, I thought the Rams were letting the Bengals defense dictate where it was they were going. You know, they were obviously doubling Kupp, and so Stafford kept going elsewhere. At the end of game, though, how many times, and it doesn't matter the sport, how many times have you heard basketball and football, especially at the end of game, sometimes what is it? It's not plays, it's players. You know, basketball, sometimes it's give the ball to so-and-so and try not to get in their way. And clearly at the end of the game, Stafford and maybe McVay, before he went out on the field, had decided, well, you know, whatever you do, we got to go to Kupp. This ain't working elsewhere. But, Mark, you mentioned plays. And the Rams ran 66 plays. And the reason I have a theory is that once a modern defense gets to 50 plays.
And that last drive was in the 15, 16 play range.
They started that drive having run 50 plays. They had a 15-play drive to get to 65, and then the kneel down counts, 66. So, and, you know, the Bengals had them 4th and 1, and Kupp on the little reverse gets the first down, you know, in their own territory. Obviously, they stop them there. They're going to win the game. I did not think the Rams were going to score a touchdown. When they got the ball back, I thought to myself, you know, this dropped hold is going to cost them, because I thought, well, you know, they'll get down in long field goal range, but I don't know if they can punch it in.
Well, and I'm with you in that I thought a drive was coming, but until the defensive holding penalty, and that's why, you know, I stood up and yelled. They needed a call to get it into the end zone, and they got a call. Both teams got a call in the second half to get into the end zone. Don't forget that.
It's a play that I don't think many people have talked about. So they call the holding on Apple in the end zone. Sets up 1st and goal from the 1. Stafford sneaks it. Forces the Bengals to burn a timeout. The reason why I believe that turned out to be a very big play is obviously they end up scoring on the next play, but now the Bengals only have 2 timeouts. So they start their drive. They burn a timeout before they cross midfield. So now, and then they throw the first down pass and they throw it away. 2nd down, they get about 8.5 yards. And then that's when they burned the timeout. So now they're down to 1 timeout. If they had 2, I think Mixon stays on the field. They run the ball. They get the first down. They had 2 shots at it. With Mixon on the field, they get the first down by running it. They burn a timeout. Now they got the ball.
And they've got the 1 timeout for the field goal.
There you go. And they're on the long, I mean, they're about 5 yards outside of field goal range. And they'd still have a timeout in their pocket with about 45 seconds left. The quarterback sneak and the burn timeout ends up being significant, I believe, in how the Bengals and Zach Taylor and what he's thinking in terms of how we have to call plays and do this 2-minute drill.
You know, as they're coming down, and obviously they don't get an opportunity to kick the field goal, but there's part of me, because I loved the kicker staying out at halftime. I'm going, please, whatever happens, if he gets an opportunity to kick, we can't have him miss this and have it all be, well, he was on the field at halftime not paying attention to what the coach was saying.
Right.
I'm just like, man, if this comes to a field goal, please don't let this be your miss, kid. You've been so good this year. Do not let this be the one.
I thought it was cool. I mean, and if you've been to any game, the kickers are out of that locker room. I mean, they're barely in the locker room. They come back out, they start kicking. You know, I mean, as soon as the bands in college are off the field, the kickers are waiting for the bands to leave the field. They're on the field a couple minutes before the teams come out of the locker room.
And I will say that was now maybe NBC caught it, but I saw it on Twitter during the commercial break that he was out there, or, you know, right when it ended. Cause I had, like I said, I had my phone on, I downloaded the little app thing and I saw it on Twitter, and I'm guessing there's at least 2 people on every crew that are required to watch Twitter the entire time, that they made sure they got that shot. And I think social media had something to do with it.
Heck, for a Super Bowl. Might be 3 people responsible for Twitter. Eric Edholm of Yahoo. Talk about the Super Bowl and look ahead. He's big on the draft. Eric Edholm next on the Florida Sports Network.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, guys, I got a haircut. I missed my long hair though. Yeah, this is my cut. Checks over stripes. That's what we like.
I have no idea who's doing this for, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I have no idea. I don't know. He claims it's people in our Twitch chat room.
So he walks over so he can be seen.
Yeah.
See, he notices how much I don't even have the Twitch thing on. So
I don't see it. I got to be honest with you. I will say the women in my life, all right, thought that Maria Taylor's outfit was amazing.
Maria Taylor's a great looking lady.
And she's well compensated.
She should be. Played that perfectly.
Yes, she did.
Played that perfectly.
Michelle Tafoya is leaving sportscasting and is going to do something in conservative politics. Don't know if she's going to run for office in Minnesota. Don't know if she's going to just do some kind of TV, radio talk thing. But I believe she spoke at the CPAC, like in between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl. So, yeah, Michelle Tafoya is done with sportscasting. And Al gave her a bigger send-off than NBC gave Al.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And I know NBC's going, well, we're still hoping to have Al around and, you know, do a handful of games next year. Come on, man.
So I don't know if you finished your point earlier. Is he like he's going to go to another network possibly?
Amazon.
Well,
Amazon.
the word is that he has the Amazon job if he wants it.
Wow.
And the word is that it depends on who the analyst is. That Al doesn't want to work with a newbie. But he's not going to do Sunday Night Football anymore. Tirico's going to do it. He's not going to do Super Bowls anymore with NBC.
And Tirico's good.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't give him great. I think Tirico's really good. I don't
Yeah,
think he's great.
yeah.
What makes Tirico great is you don't notice him. The whole game goes by and you went, oh, did Mike Tirico do that? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah, I get you.
He doesn't get in the way. I think he is a very, very competent and he can do any sport. I think he's a pro.
I really liked him when he did basketball.
well, there's nothing he doesn't do really well.
That's the most impressive thing about it to me.
Eric Edholm, Yahoo.
Yeah, I had a scheduled tweet to go on. I don't know why it didn't go out. That bothers me. So one will probably go out like on February 19th or something.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. That's all roughly 35 minutes away. Eric Edholm of Yahoo is kind enough to join us. He covers the NFL at large. You can follow Eric on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. Eric, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Good morning, David and Mark. What's happening?
Well, first off, I do want to address something before we get to the game and what have you. You call yourself a Dale Murphy scholar. All right. I mean, for the record, the two of us, after lobbying over the last 15 years for first Burt Blyleven and then Jack Morris, Dale Murphy is now number one on our Get Him in the Damn Hall of Fame list.
Please, thank you. Yeah, you guys can have me on anytime you want. Yeah.
Oh.
I grew up in Boston, a Red Sox fan, but I kind of grew tired of watching them, and it's like I need something else. I need a new team, a new player. And I watched Murph hit a pinch hit home run off Doc Gooden, and I was probably 10 years old, 11, who knows, And I just said, all right, I'm a TBS freak. That's it. So that was my guy. And ever since, I've been banging that same drum as you guys. Let's go. What a way to start off the day. Forget Super Bowl. I'm just talking Murph all day.
Now I will say Schilling's a close second for us. Okay. I mean, his record's undeniable, but just for the record, good to note, Mark, Eric is that easy.
Well, yeah. Hey, but you know what? This is a hill that those of us that are on the Dale Murphy hill, we will all die together on this, and we will die for the right cause because we all know he should be in the Hall of Fame. It's that simple.
Exactly. Well, I do appreciate you guys bringing out the big guns early. Like you got me hooked right away, so that works.
All right, just your thoughts on the game. Easy enough like that, Eric. Just your thoughts on the game last night.
I mean, big picture, obviously, the last drive, like Stafford and the Rams. I mean, this was, he takes over with 6 minutes left, and you think to yourself, all right, this is your life, Matthew. This is the moment that you've been waiting for. This is the moment that Sean McVay and the Rams have been waiting for. Les Snead, obviously Sean McVay, and the way they constructed this team was not typical. And they put so much on Cooper Kupp's shoulders. That drive between the 4th and 1 conversion, he hadn't touched the ball, almost over a quarter at that point. That was huge. 8 yards, 22 yards, an unbelievable throw from Stafford, another 8. PI calls drawn, a touchdown, wiped off. Then he catches the score. That was big time right there. And the Rams' offensive line
everyone else. Obviously, McVay got a lot of guts for trying to run the ball, but that was the drive of a play caller's lifetime and of a receiver and quarterback's lifetime. So, some of the calls there at the end, some stuff that wasn't called earlier, did I find inconsistency there? Absolutely. That bothers me. When Logan Thomas has played a whale of a game, yes, kind of the GOAT, chain hung around his neck for what looked like a fantastic play. I didn't like that was a big play in the game. Obviously, the Bengals. Burrow was okay. He just didn't have that kind of game that I think a lot of people expected coming in and missed some throws. But, he gave him a chance there at the end, and they just came up a little short.
Talking with Eric Edholm of Yahoo. Follow him on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. All right. Getting back to officiating for a second. I mean, imagine if the Bengals had won today 20-16. And we all know what everyone would be saying. Wow, the winning points were decided by an egregious officiating mistake. How in the world could they miss that? Eric, and I know we had this 3 years ago, Saints-Rams NFC Championship game. They tried something for a year, right? And do you think, though, behind closed doors this offseason, there are some like Bill Belichick who have said, I really think we should be able to challenge everything. If you want to limit the number of challenges, that's great. But, I mean, behind closed doors, do you think the NFL discusses whether it's Big Brother from up above, you're just calling down going, yeah, that's offensive pass interference, bring it back, or that Sean McVay next year could challenge that play? Do you think the NFL takes this a step further, or they're willing to live with egregious mistakes in big spots?
Yeah, I mean, I used to sort of operate under the premise that the NFL didn't mind having a little controversy. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I've kind of gone back and forth on this one over the years where, we're talking about it, right? And it's going to be a huge debate. Obviously, the NFL is, king right now and probably will be for a long time sports-wise. But, obviously, I always sort of operate in the premise that no attention is bad attention kind of thing. And I sort of say that tongue-in-cheek, half-kiddingly. But, you would hope that they would try to do everything they could, especially in an era where people are gambling and gambling like never before, at least legally, right, on their games, that you would want it as close to perfection as possible. Mistakes are going to happen, right? We understand that. I think most reasonable people realize that you're going to have a call go against your team sometimes. Once in a while, you're going to have that go in your favor. But I'd like to believe that if they had the resources, which they do, obviously, they would do whatever they could to make a system that's as impenetrable as possible. What they have right now isn't, right? And then people say, well, what are you paying refs for if you've got this, sort of robot eye in the sky or whatever? Well, I mean, you still need the on-field officials to handle, the snap stuff. So, yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, I guess, we hate having calls determine games in that way. Like you said, there were egregiously bad calls. At least one against each team. There were a few other missed calls that I saw, like the face mask against Ramsey on Higgins. The Rams tackles sort of flying back into their stances before the ball snapped several times. At least one on the last drive. There's just lots of stuff that you look back and say, maybe it affected the game. Maybe it had a clear impact on the outcome, and that's hard to live with.
Did you have a problem with Kupp being the MVP, or would you have gone in a different direction with that one?
I mean, right. I was sort of thinking about it there as we were, kind of mid-fourth quarter, and the game was hanging in the balance. Like, all right, is it Logan Wilson at that point? Is it T. Higgins? Is it, what if the Rams win? Is it Stafford? Is it Kupp? I mean, I feel like there's like an unwritten rule if a quarterback throws a second interception, whether it's their fault or not, they're not going to get it. Obviously, Aaron Donald, I think, in the second half really came on. And, early on, it felt like the Bengals had a pretty good plan for him. But, plans and good intentions and all that, right? By the end of the game, he was absolutely dominant. It's so hard with these things. But like I said, those last 5 minutes, plus he had he had a touchdown in the first half. He had that big 3rd and 4, catch and run for 20 yards to set up the first score. I mean, he had an impact on this game. And when Beckham went down, there was one guy you had to worry about. So, there was that stretch of like 12 throws where he didn't get a pass. He didn't catch a pass, right? There was some thrown in his direction, but they were trying like heck to get the ball to him, it seemed like, and then they didn't. And then the last drive was like, well, this is our money man right here. This is the guy who's going to deliver us the championship. So I felt pretty good about it, even if, you'd love to see a defensive guy like Donald, especially with the 2 sacks and the pressure that forced that 4th down incompletion.
Eric, it's a copycat league.
Yeah.
And 20 teams have made the Super Bowl in the last 20 seasons. But there are 12 that have not. For the record, they're the Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Browns, Titans, Texans, Jags, Chargers, Cowboys, Washington, the Lions, and the Vikings. Everybody's saying that no one's going to copy what the Rams have just done and gone all in. Well, you could argue the Saints did it first and made 3 straight NFC championship games. Why shouldn't you, if you're one of those 12 teams, go all in? This has been a glorious 5-year period, made the playoffs 4 times, made 2 Super Bowls, won 1. I mean, Eric, yeah, okay. What if in year 6 we got to tear it down and start over? Why is this a bad, modus operandi?
Yeah, I think you bring up a fascinating question. I wrote about it, I think, on Tuesday of Super Bowl week, just about, first of all, how different the approaches were of the Bengals and Rams to build their teams. And it's a high wire act. It really is. I think it requires a sort of unwiring of everything you've been taught in scouting and roster building coming up. The old guard would always say, protect your assets, keep your draft picks. Don't overspend in free agency, build from the bottom up. And in a way, the Rams have actually done that. And I felt like I pointed that out, which was, they had 45 draft picks over the last 5 years. 45, that's 9 per year. You only get 7 to begin with, right? And for all the picks they've traded away, they've made subtle moves where they moved down and accumulated picks, and they've hit on day 2 and day 3 picks. I think that's an underrated part of it. It's not that they don't care about the draft. It's that they love having these superstars anchored by picks that their scouts are talented enough to find, with picks that aren't as valuable as some other teams have. They don't have a lot of day 1 picks. They don't have as many day 2 picks, but they load up on day 3 guys. They comb through the undrafted ranks, and they find good values. I mean, to me, it's not that wild and outlandish a team-building strategy as everybody assumes, even if you're paying up for, 5, 6, 7 guys who are your core of your franchise. So as long as those guys don't get hurt, as long as you don't get stung by injuries, it has a chance to work. And as long as you trust your scouting staff, that's the key, to find these players like Ernest Jones and find these players, that they have on the David Edwards on the offensive line, and, Bryson Hopkins catching passes last night. I mean, that's kind of what it takes. So it's a little deeper than the big splash moves, and keep your fingers crossed that some people have made it out to be. But I'm with you. I like, this should be the example of it can happen. It can work your way if you do it the right way.
Well, and Eric, I mean, I think looking ahead to free agency, there's going to be at least 750 free agents. That's a pretty fair number to look at. That's over 20 per team. So for people to say the only way you can do this is through the draft is actually pretty short-sighted, because you have to have the free agents. When you're losing 20 players off your roster every year, you better be pretty damn good at combing through the free agents as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, like for the Bengals, for instance, they put together a defense in the last 2 years. They had a couple pieces, they drafted Wilson, they drafted Jesse Bates a few years before that. But 7 of their 11 starters on defense came via free agency, right? And, the old adage of, well, you can't spend because don't spend on other teams' players, spend on your own players, right? Well, that makes sense, of course. And you're going to miss Trey Waynes. They signed this for, he was inactive last year. He didn't play, so there's always going to be those types of players. However, I think they showed too that you can rebound pretty quickly. by adding a DJ Reader and a Trey Hendrickson and other players along that defense. You know, Chidobe Awuzie was a great addition for them. And I mean, look, it's just you can't ignore free agency, and there are always market inequalities. There are always values to be had. There are always, you know, players who are going to, you know, succeed their value of what you pay them. So it's just about being smart and not overspending in order to, you know, give your fans a victory in March. Nobody cares about that. You care about building a roster and being prepared for August, September.
Eric, you know, you don't say you guys can call me anytime. Not with this show, just so you know. All right. Safe travels.
Recording that, were you?
Safe travels back to Chicago, and hopefully we can catch up again, you know, beginning of free agency, leading into the draft, that sort of thing.
Looking forward to it. Maybe like once every couple of weeks, something like that.
Eric Edholm of Yahoo. Follow him on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. Eric, thanks so much for doing this, particularly at this hour. Because I believe he's still in LA.
Yeah, you had him at Dale Murphy. You had him at Dale Murphy.
Especially at 6 a.m. his time.
Right. I mean, if you would have even thrown in that we were going to be at the Braves complex on Saturday, he might have changed his flight plans to join us.
15 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay.
Just kind of make it easy to get through the segment with a bunch of them, and we can comment.
I can't believe Cup missed Stafford that badly. That was a horrible throw. Love how Joe Mixon's first throw of his NFL career was a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
You know what? 239 Daniel will address that. I think the Super Bowl in a whole was a success. Of course it was. It was a close game. It had a great halftime show.
Don't know what people are.
The commercials were good. I mean, I thought I can't give it anything worse than an 8.5, 9 on the whole.
By the way, again, we've discussed this already, but they're going to have Super Bowls there for a very, very long
Oh,
time.
it's on the rotation. It's every 4 or 5 years.
Because, man, that is...
You got New Orleans, you got Miami, you got Vegas.
Arizona?
I don't know if Arizona's a regular stint.
Maybe not. Jerry's World?
Not a regular. I
don't know why, though. I don't get it. You would kind of
think... Dallas is cold. You don't know what kind of weather you're going to get in Dallas.
That is true.
In
February.
You just don't. They've had ice there. They've had bad weather problems for Super Bowls. That's the first thing. They would prefer to have all of these in warm weather destinations. That's the very first thing. Jerry's is not. Arizona, I just don't know how much they want to give Arizona a regular trip on the Super. I mean, do you ever hear anybody saying, you know where we got to go? We got to go to Arizona.
You want after the Waste Management. I mean,
I got you. Watched a golf tournament.
it was so much fun. It was awesome.
You know what? Then they should have every Super Bowl on the 16th
Yes.
green.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. It's like talking to a God blessed 2-year-old sometimes.
No, but I get what you're saying, Mark. Yeah. I'd probably exclude it from the.
Should have the Super Bowls there because of the Phoenix. I don't. I mean, David, do you think Phoenix is a regular spot?
No. I think it's a once a decade spot.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's so many once a decade spots. It's how big are you going to have this rotation?
I think they're going to cut it to 4.
Okay, but if it's 4, and let's just say those 4: LA, Vegas, New Orleans, Miami.
There's something to that.
Okay. But now the once a decade list: Indianapolis,
Mhm.
Dallas, Arizona. Any others?
Atlanta.
So that's 8.
And then you start the,
And then you start over it.
Yeah. You start
But I mean,
over.
then you're rotating 8.
And then did you say Indy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some cities will get 2 a decade, if you know what I mean, because that's.
Yeah, but I think that there's a couple of those big 4, all right, like LA and Miami, that I think they're going to go to.
No more than twice a decade.
Well, it's tough to go to it twice a decade, but I think it may be like, how they work St. Andrews in every 5 years in the rotation, and others kind of go 7, 8,
Because I could see it going like those 4 off, those 4 off, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So they'd all get 2 a decade, and the other 2 would get 1 every other decade, if you know what I mean.
Now, was the only reason they had it in Minnesota for the Eagles Pat Super Bowl because of the new stadium?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every new stadium gets a Super Bowl.
Got it.
Did.
We'll
see if that still happens.
That's an incredible stadium, by the way. It looks super cool.
It is. It's
because Seattle's never getting a Super Bowl. You can write that down.
No, never. Of course not.
I don't care if they build them a new stadium. They ain't getting a Super
It's too
Bowl.
windy.
It's too rainy.
I'll put it this way: it's new stadiums with a dome,
obviously,
or in the Southwest and Southeast.
10 seconds.
But it will be interesting with the Bears. I'll bet you they get one.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Our poll question at FL Sports Network. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. Is it on our website yet?
No, because we have a 10:30 class for me to learn how to do all that stuff.
Do I have to be a part of this?
You're supposed to be. You got the email.
Okay. Actually, I didn't, but all right. I'll have to check that site. The question's about the halftime show. And whether or not you loved it, whether or not you thought it was okay, or whether you hated it. And so far, 2 out of every 3 of you like it. A lot. In fact, loved it. Hot damn. I didn't think we can get 2 out of 3 to agree on anything. So that's our poll question.
Tech Time with David coming up during the next commercial break. Whether or not we'll see if David did receive that email, I'm going to take a guess and say, based on my emails, he did.
No. You didn't hear me. I'm sure I received it. I have 2 websites, the one I use all the time, and then that one. So I'll have to check that one.
Gotcha. One of the ways to communicate with this show is to go to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton and watch it that way. We'd appreciate a follow while you're there. A couple of you have done that today. The other way is to text the show. The keyword is FSN Radio, all one word. FSN Radio. You text that to 21,000. And a lot of you have been texting today, like this gentleman who just simply said, been a Lions fan my whole life. I'm not happy Stafford won. Does that make me a bad person?
No.
Kinda.
No.
If you're upset with him, if you're jealous of him, it makes you a bad person.
Yes. But if you're not celebrating.
No, you don't have to celebrate, but you should be a little happy for Matthew Stafford. I actually think I don't think you had to root for him, but I think this morning, if you're a Lions fan, not being happy for Matt Stafford, I think you could look in the mirror and have to ask yourself a couple of questions.
All right. How did he word that again?
Been a Lions fan all of my life. I am not happy Stafford won.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Does that make me a bad person?
Yes.
I think it does.
It put it this way. I don't know if it makes you a bad person, but it definitely says you're in a bad place. You know, you may need to have a talk with yourself, get out of the house a little bit. A Snickers can always make one feel better. You know, something like that.
And then the 50-year-old says, I didn't like halftime. I don't like hip hop. I don't like rap. I don't like it in a can. I don't like it with the man.
And that's fine.
Give me rocks and fireworks. Where's AC/DC?
Okay, and there you go. And that's fine. Like, I'm not a huge country person. Now, they could do an all-country halftime, and I'm sure I would enjoy it. You know, there's different styles of country. And
you and I love live music, too.
Yes, absolutely. Love everything about it. Admire the talent so much. So, you know, but would country be my first choice? No, it would not. But I could enjoy a country halftime show, absolutely.
This person says the Bengals are for real. If they bring it online, they'll be here for years to come.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Okay. Just kind of threw it out there last week. Are we sure this isn't their only trip to this game this decade?
This one surprised me, by the way, at halftime. Halftime show, please, never, ever again. I grew up loving hip-hop, and this was done for other reasons, and it failed. Okay?
No, actually, no. No, it was done absolutely for rap and hip-hop. That's exactly why it was done. Now, did two of the artists decide to each send one message during the 15 minutes? Yes, they did. But no, this was done specifically to highlight this genre of music.
And this one just asked, do the Bengals keep any of their old linemen? Yes. They had guys that were injured. There were guys that will be back, but they should be spending money in free agency to do what the Bills did and go buy themselves an offensive line.
Well, and quite frankly, what the Chiefs did last year, I mean, they replaced their two tackles. And actually, they replaced four of their offensive linemen. They said, this line's not good enough for us to win with. And their demise was not because of their offensive line. Can I just read those 12 teams again that in the last 20 years have not made the Super Bowl?
Yes.
So the Bengals made the 20th team in the last 20 years to make the Super Bowl. And so a lot is going to be discussed over these next 6, because it's about 5 weeks from now that the new NFL year begins. And then obviously you got 6+ weeks after that to the draft. So, you know, figure out how many days it is between now and the end of April. And, you know, the Rams methodology of trading away picks for proven players. If you're a fan of the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Browns, Titans, Texans, Jags, Chargers, Cowboys, Commanders, Lions, and Vikings.
Oh, my.
Is there really a methodology that your team could use that you'd be against if it could get you to the big game with no guarantees of the result?
I think the only one on that list right there, and I know it's been a long time, but the Bills think that they're so eerily close and think they've been doing things the right way. That's the one team when you listed them. But the Titans have also been doing it the right way and can't get anything done in the postseason.
Yeah, one run to the AFC Championship game, and they've had a couple other appearances where they won a game. But, yeah, they're stuck.
But they've been a good regular season team. You know, they've been better. But they were a lot like the Andy Dalton Bengals. Damn, they were good in the regular season.
Yeah, during this run, I think they've won 3 playoff games, but 2 of them were in the 1 year. You know, but come on now. Cowboys haven't made a conference championship game in a quarter century. A conference championship game. Lions haven't made one in 30 years. Washington hasn't made one in 30 years. Joe Gibbs, the year they won the Super Bowl, 91. It's their last trip to the NFC Championship game. They've made the playoffs. They've won a couple of playoff games. Norv Turner won a playoff game. Joe Gibbs won a playoff game. 30 years since they've been to a conference championship game. We all know about the Dolphins. 30 years since they've been to a conference championship game. Jets have never won, haven't won one in 50 years. Haven't been to the game in over 50 years. Bills have never won the game. Browns have never been to the game. Jags have never been to the game. Texans haven't even been to a conference championship game. Chargers haven't won the game. I'm sorry. You tell me we're going to go all in 5 years, 5 winning seasons. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee you we are going to have success. Don't know if we're going to get there. Don't know if we're going to win it if we do get there. But we're going to have a hell of a run, just so you know. And when it's over, it's going to be a mess. I think 12 of those fan bases would sign up. I think the Bills would, because they're like, I'll do anything for a Super Bowl. Please go all in for the next 5 years. All damn in.
I think they are, though. I actually think the Bills are all in and will continue to go. I will tell you this much, though, David, with that long list of teams with a drought of 20 years or more from either being or never have been to a Super Bowl, I do think you'll see 4 or 5 teams start to try the Rams methodology.
It's not like the players they traded those picks for suck. You know, a second and a third for Von Miller. That's a lot. For half a season of Von Miller, absolutely. That's the baseball team. I mean, the Cubs built the World Series off of that trade they made with the A's 3 years earlier. I mean, that's where they got 3 of their best players from. The A's went all in. It didn't work. If you're an Oakland A's fan, you didn't have, but when those deals happened, you're like, this is the best team we've had in 15 years. Damn right. Go for it. Didn't work out. Okay. Come on.
Well, I think the team you really look at Miami, because they did so much to pick these players and get draft picks. Well, now if you started chipping some first rounders out for players that are established players, my goodness.
Exactly. We've missed on picks. Might as well send these picks out for proven players.
And that's what I thought that Eric Edholm did a really nice job of pointing out that the Rams have had a lot of picks. They averaged 9 picks a year for 5 years. But they didn't have any on the first day.
Yeah, and, they didn't have as many on the second day as you normally have either. But they're pretty good third round on. That's where the value is, by the way. That's how you can fill out the rest of the roster on minimum deals or not much more. I mean, some of those guys are really good players. Browns, got that safety off the Rams roster last year in free agency. Johnson, he's a good player. So just wanted to mention those 12. Because we've got a lot of fans out there of those teams. Dolphins, Browns, Cowboys, Vikings in the 239. I'm sure they're sitting here going, yeah, please take the Rams. Like a Vikings fan right now. They haven't been in the game in 40 years. 45, actually. Have not been in the game in 45 years.
I think I've learned from you and now knowing a few of them, having been down here, I don't think there's anything that they wouldn't do for a Super Bowl.
Well, first off, just to get back.
Right.
They've never won it. There's no doubt there's nothing they wouldn't do to win it. But 45 years. Could you get me in the game? I know it's not great being a Bengals fan today, but come on now, 33 years. I'll take it.
It's funny because I've got 2 good friends who are both, that's their team. And both have been texting this morning. And it's not been, the walls are caving in. It's been, damn it, I wish we would have given Mixon the ball more. It's not, they're still trying to figure out why they didn't win as opposed to doom and gloom.
Now, DC's arguing the Vikings lately have kind of sort of did the all-in thing. Now, I don't think you did the all-in thing. I don't. Now, all-in things is you're trading picks for players. That's all in.
You traded players for picks.
I was going to say, you actually sent Diggs away.
Right. That's not all in.
No, no. All in is keeping Diggs and trading away picks and putting two offensive linemen on that team. That would have been all in.
Yeah, not drafting an offensive lineman, trading your first round pick for an off. That's all in. A trade deadline to go get a lineman. That's all in.
Miller and Moulton. Anything else you want to get off your chest before
I feel pretty good.
Good, bad, and ugly?
No,
What's
I'm
on
good.
tap? Today was the day when? If so, save it for the final thoughts. It's all coming up next. 26 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What do you how do you say his name? The producer with it, like Julie, it's like Giuliani or
Fred Godelli.
Godelli tweeted out a picture with he at Eminem.
Fuck. That's so good. Godelli's supposedly going without Amazon.
Is going to Amazon?
Mm-hmm. That Godelli, that's supposed to be his last Super Bowl. If Al goes, Godelli has agreed to stay loyal to Al, and he'll leave NBC and go to Amazon.
Oh God, I'm gonna do this good, David. You're gonna tear it up. This is funny. Just gonna give you the headline. I haven't even read the article yet. The average American has made 5 new friends through video gaming the past year.
I don't know if I've made 5 new friends in my 22 years in Florida.
So my neighbor, I went over there yesterday because he's got a pitching machine. I have to laugh because I think, I'm starting to have to slow this down. But he got kicked off he coaches 2 twin boys. He's an assistant coach. He texted me on Saturday. He goes, well, here's a first. I got fired as an assistant baseball coach.
Whoa.
So I found out that he basically was telling the kids that they couldn't have water for an hour. They're running bases and doing drills. And we looked at him and he said, because there's only an hour worth of practice and they need to be sucking up. And he's like, yeah, not for nothing. They're 7. And he goes, the last time I checked, no one's coming to these games to watch you. That was the end. He said the look on his face when I said that was priceless. So he said, probably be best if I don't help anymore. And I said, that's great. But I'm sure he still wants your pitching machine at practice, though. He goes, oh, probably. No, they've got Tirico, Klecko. They're not throwing anything at Nance. And Nance isn't going anywhere anyhow.
Nance signed a long-term deal last year. He'll never not be on CBS.
They signed Cousins is not all in, DC.
Kevin McHale right now. My
What?
legs are killing me.
Oh, I thought you meant you're not passing the ball to anybody.
Huh. He's a ball hog?
His nickname was the Black Hole.
Wow.
Tell you what, though, with his lifetime field goal percentage, which I think was over 60%.
I'm going to say he didn't miss much.
No, he was really good. Mello, I don't know if Jim will ever give anything up. I think they're going to have to wrestle stuff away from Nance.
It's pretty iconic when he does March Madness games. I will say.
I think last year was his 30th Final Four, because his first one was 91. And since we didn't have a Final Four in 2020, that would have been his 30th. I think last year was his 30th Final Four.
Gives it to Jenkins for the championship. Yeah. Ten seconds. Let's go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. It is Valentine's Day. I feel the need every hour to say that once because, let's face it, us guys, we're forgetful. You know, there was a big thing yesterday. Maybe some of you didn't celebrate Valentine's Day on Friday or Saturday. And, you know, so maybe this has slipped your mind.
Yeah, we did on Saturday.
Okay.
Daughter spent the night over at mom's.
You cooked dinner, right?
Yeah, we just did it in a couple bottles of wine.
What'd
Nice.
you make?
A little shrimp fry Diablo.
All right. You know,
You asked.
yeah, I did. I find it very redeeming quality that you have. You like to cook. You do cook. You're good at it. All right. My wife and I like to eat out,
You're good at it.
and we like it. Right. Absolutely. And have a chicken tonight, though. Big night, Valentine's Day at the house.
Oh,
I mean, we have
rotisserie from Publix.
No, we have we have chicken every Monday and Tuesday. We've had it for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. She makes a bunch of
You
chicken.
guys are one exciting couple. I
Yeah,
got to tell you.
we are. Hey, my wife made it through the halftime show last night.
Mine too.
See? Very exciting. Time now for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
She enjoyed the halftime show as well.
Hi, Vicky. I'm going to go back to the year 270.
What?
Yeah, exactly. I ain't messing around.
Holy Toledo.
Right. I'm going back 1,752 years. Well, I mean, why is it Valentine's Day? St. Valentine was beheaded on this day right around the year 270. They're not quite sure. Apparently, here's the deal. Under the rule of Claudius the Cruel, basically he said, listen, you know, our army is weak because too many of our soldiers are too attached to their wives and families. So we need to stop having wives and families, okay? And St. Valentine thought that that was ridiculous. And he defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for the young lovers. When it was found out, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Legend has it, while in jail awaiting his beheading, St. Valentine left a farewell note for the jailer's daughter, who had become his friend, and he signed it, "From your Valentine." He was named a saint after his death. Now, there are other stories of at least 2 other saints at different times, but that's the oldest one, where it started.
I like a little origin of the Valentine's Day there. That's very nice, David. Well done.
Thank you, Mark. On this day in 1859, Oregon was admitted as our 33rd state. In 1899, on this day, Congress began using voting machines. Worked well for 100 plus years, but now it's a problem. Arizona on this day, 110 years ago, Mark, was admitted as our 48th state in 1912. The UPS, the United Parcel Service, was formed 103 years ago.
Arizona was 48?
Arizona was 48.
Huh.
UPS formed on this day 103 years ago, 1919.
Well, what can Brown do for you?
Valentine's Day Massacre. On this day in 1929, Al Capone orders 7 rival gangsters killed, allegedly. They could never pin it on him. The original Dracula with Bela Lugosi was released on this date in 1931. Burns and Allen, you know, George Burns, Gracie Allen, their show debuted on radio on this day 90 years ago. Mark, in 1951, Sugar Ray Robinson defeats Jake LaMotta with a 13th round technical knockout to win the middleweight title. And they would fight a bunch more times.
Yes, they would.
And it would be legendary. Hey, I don't want to say that we had a problem, but 65 years ago today, 10 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, the Georgia State Senate unanimously approves a bill barring blacks from playing baseball with whites. 1960, second ever Daytona 500, Junior Johnson wins it by surviving a 37-car crash in turn 4. That's right.
No word on whether or not the moonshine in his car was able to get him through that 37-car crash.
Or caused it.
Right.
It was 60 years ago today. Jackie Kennedy did that famous White House tour on television. You know, we didn't have a lot to watch back then. 3 networks. You know, people had never seen really the White House. She said, "Why don't you come on a tour?" And they did. Wilt set the all-time NBA scoring record on this day in 1966. A little over 20,000 points. It was 20,884. Yeah, Kareem would score about 18,000 more points than that. LeBron will pass Kareem, if he stays healthy, probably the last 6 weeks of next year. He's 3rd right now. He'll pass Malone before the end of the year if he stays healthy. Where are we? 1967, Aretha recorded Respect on this day.
I heard it did okay.
Yeah, it holds up pretty well. On this day in 1971, Richard Petty won his 3rd Daytona 500. Also, Nixon installed those secret taping system in the White House. Ali defeats Joe Bugner on this day, Mark, in a 12-round decision. He was the British heavyweight champion. Ali was not champion. It was on this day in 1982, Bobby Allison edges his son. All right, no, I'm sorry. Bobby Allison wins the Daytona 500 by a half a lap, 23 seconds over Cale Yarborough. Remember Torvald and Dean, the 84 Olympics in Sarajevo? The ice dancers?
Okay, yeah.
Jane Torvald and Christopher Dean, they performed that famous bolero routine. Very sexy, very intimate. You know, when all of us watched the Olympics. Right. They got
As
9.
opposed to now when none of us watch the
Correct.
Olympics.
They got 9 of 9 perfect scores. Whitney's debut album, titled Whitney Houston, was today in 85. Bobby Allison edged his son Davey to win the Daytona 500 on this day in 88. Some people remember this race for it's when Richard Petty got hit by Brett Bodine and rolled over 8 times and got up and walked out.
What year was that?
88.
He was on Letterman shortly thereafter, Petty. I mean, because obviously Letterman, huge car guy, but he had Petty on. I remember, because of course,
right, sure.
Dave would just show it.
Right.
And then, give one of those quirky looks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, got up, just got out of the car and walked to the pits.
Well, of course.
Right. Silence of the Lambs, released on this day in 91. The first Wayne's World sketch on Saturday Night Live was today, 30 years ago, 1992. Portland traded Clyde Drexler to Houston on this day in 95. Shaun White wins his third half-pipe gold medal. And it was just last year. Michael McDowell wins the Daytona 500 after the race was delayed 6 hours because of a crash on lap 14, and then he survived that fiery last lap crash for his first ever career win. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas tragedy was 4 years ago today. 17 teachers and students killed. Mark, an unbelievable number of famous people born on this day.
Okay. Hit me.
Jack Benny in 1894. All on the same day in 1913. Jimmy Hoffa, Woody Hayes, Mel Allen.
Take Mel Allen close.
Steve McNair would have been 49 today. Florence Henderson would have been 88 today. And Gregory Hines would have been 76. Boom Boom Geoffrion is 81. Excuse me, he's 91 today.
First coach of the Atlanta Flames.
How about that? Dave Dravecki is 66 today. Jim Kelly is 62. Drew Bledsoe is 50. Jadeveon Clowney is 29. Carl Bernstein, 78. And Teller, of Penn and Teller fame, is 74. And that, Mark, is today was the day.
All right, we actually have errors and omissions today. The error was simply Wayne's World, the movie, was released today in 92. Not the first sketch. That was the movie.
My
Wayne's
bad.
World was. That's quite all right. And this one is really just for you because 50 years ago today, John and Yoko began their week-long stint as the guest host on the Michael Douglas Show.
The Mike Douglas Show, yes.
Think about that. John and Yoko, you guys want to guest host for a week?
Sure. Think that attracted any attention in 72?
You think?
At 3-4 in the afternoon?
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to the games. And Felipe, this should be for you because according to a study that the average American has made 5 new friends through video gaming the past year. Felipe, how many new friends have you made in the past year because of video games?
I only game with my friends in real life, though. That's the thing. So not many.
Huh.
I
Thought it was a chance for you.
I haven't made 5 new friends. I've been in Florida 22 years.
You made 5 new acquaintances?
Oh, I've made 155 new acquaintances.
You and I are very different. That we have a big differentiation of a friend and acquaintance. That's my friend. Really? You guys go out and eat together often?
Friend for me is what I take a bullet for you.
We have a higher standard for friendship.
Right.
We truly do. For the best Highland counties in Florida where deputies are on the search, an emu is loose and running around orange groves. I don't know if you're aware, but emus are fast, faster than us. That's what the sheriff said in the Facebook post. If you find the emu, please contact authorities. Finally, the ugly. We go to Provo. The story is Provo, David. Spain, no Utah. Where Claire Robinson was arrested Saturday, the 60-year-old took a butane torch and 5 gallons of gas and lit a shed on fire where her her current husband and his new girlfriend were living in. Apparently, she was just staring them down through the window while the place was ablaze.
Damn. That is a woman scorned right there.
That is a hot woman right there. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, Valentine's Day, 2022.
All right, NBA tonight. There's 9 games. Orlando's on the road in Denver. No one cares about that. So the Brooklyn Nets are home facing the Sacramento Kings. And Sacramento's terrible, right? But the Nets have lost 11 in a row. Remember, they've traded Harden. Durant's injured, and since it's a home game, Kyrie can't play. Sacramento's a 3.5-point favorite in Brooklyn against the Nets, who have lost 11 straight. So, NHL, 4 games going on, no Lightning, no Panthers. These are all makeup games anyway.
It's going to be a crazy, crazy month or 3 weeks with this going on, not knowing anything of what is normalcy in that world.
Only one ranked team in action in college basketball tonight. Kansas hosts Oklahoma State.
What would you give the Super Bowl on a scale of 10? It's got to be a 9, doesn't it? 8.5, 9?
8.5. Okay. For me, it's a 9.5, but overall, 8.5.
I give it a 9.
We've been spoiled. They've been good lately. The playoffs were great. Hey, thanks for listening. We'll do this again tomorrow. Pat Kerwin on the show, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg.